Hey, what's up, people? How you doing? This is Ben Herrera coming at you live from, let's go back Serbia. It's a little small city in the south of Serbia. So it's evening over here, so I'd say dobro večer. It's probably morning where you guys are. Yeah, or afternoon. So that'd be dobar dan. Thought I'd impress you with my very minimal Serbian. Yeah, just a former Marvel DC Image artist here, but currently working on Scribe Comics Heavy Atomo, which I'd like to share a little bit of tonight. Some pages again. We posted some pages, but I thought I'd share them again. We're just starting the issue, and did a lot of concept designs and promote some promo pieces. But tonight I'd like to not only share some pages, but work a little bit. I have some work to get done, so work a little bit on like some concept designs. There's some these teen gang members, so I need to work out their designs for the book. I did, of course, a lot more. Maybe I'll have to show all the other concept designs. So there's going to be a lot of awesome, cool characters in the book. So, but yeah, tonight working on the Teen Gang, and then for Triple Threat, I'm going to be sort of redesigning another character named Violet. She is in the book. She's got like my version of kind of like a Black Widow, sort of. Kind of, she has some of the same abilities, but but a little more stylish and French, not Russian. So I'd like to work on her tonight for my Triple Threat comic book. She's kind of like the second most important bad guy in the story, but I'll talk about her more. But also, yeah, just doing that on the like I said, the artist and sort of the storyteller for these books. Please excuse me, I'm a little bit tired today. It was a hot day today, and so it gets pretty hot here in southern Serbia. And my current place that I'm renting right now doesn't have any air conditioning. So thankfully, it's a very old house, so has some really thick stone walls, so it's kind of insulated, so that helps. But I don't know if you can hear it, but I'm sitting in front of a very big fan right now, so I don't go crazy with the heat. I do not like heat. I may have dark skin, but yeah, I'm not a big heat guy. But anyway, yeah. So what was I talking about? Oh, why I'm tired. A little bit tired today. I even drank like a big old iced coffee before this, but I don't know if it's helping or not. Anyway, yeah, I've been here in Southern Serbia for the past almost 3 months, so it's almost time to move again next week. So yeah, so I'm a little bit tired, but hopefully this will wake me up. But I still like to get some work done and so chit chat with you guys. So hopefully, and also anyone's welcome out there to stop by and say hi and throw up some comments or critiques or whatever. So, oh yeah, and also just to let you know too, if you like anything you're checking out online, my commission list is currently open, and I put the my website. Another awesome stuff that happened in the last week is my comic book freelance comic book artist website went up, so I'm excited about that. And benherrerastudios.com, and my comic book publishing website went up also. That's a work in progress, bzcomics.com. And even though they're working, that one's a work in progress. The other one, on both sites, the newsletter and contact forms are fully functional. So, yeah, please sign up for the newsletter, and that'd be awesome to get you there to get some more extra cool, exclusive information if you want to catch up, keep up with date on some fun things with Heavy Atomo and Triple Threat. Triple Threat's mine, my book. So yeah, let me start getting into showing some of the pages from Triple Threat to whet your appetite on it. This is it's not a cover, it's a promo piece, and but I thought I'd add the Heavy Atomo um, logo, which is a brand new logo that Rosario just completed. So he did a great job on that thing. We were trying to tell him to. He was doing a bunch of different ones, and you know how it goes. You iterate and iterate. Um, yeah, he's iterating, and he iterated to a great final, awesome Heavy Atomo title logo. Or Atomo. We were on. I wanted to mention if you had a great time on Katie Did's channel, her YouTube channel this morning, and Rumble. So we had a great time, discussing how I say the Heavy Atomo name incorrectly. But anyway, no. So we had a great time on there. So thanks again, Katie, for bringing us on and we talked about Heavy Atomo. Shared some of the artwork, but here's the promo piece, the first promo piece that we did for the book. I just did another one, which I think Rosario wants to surprise all of you with. But this is, again, giant robots, awesome, fun battles with ugly-looking kaiju monsters with tentacles, stomach tentacles, and like big pustules all over their back. So I know that's really awesome. Not something you want to, snack on, but the colors is Fairy, and he's doing a great job on the book. So he's putting all these little extra details on it. And the style of it is very open, so he's doing a great job filling it, making all the my line work look amazing. So thank you, Fairy. Here's page 1. The story opens up in a port, a shipping port. So there's shipping containers and like having a battle with the kaiju, and handling business, and all the dock workers are freaking out and running away. Of course, why wouldn't they? There's these two giant things fighting, around you and messing up your work day, and there's fire everywhere. So that's page 1, and so it's again the Fairy did a great job on the colors, and I'm having a great time on the book because this is like it's all the stuff I love drawing. I mean, it doesn't have superheroes, but almost though. But yeah, I love giant robots and monsters, creatures, and kaiju and Japanese. I was a huge fan of Japanese shows and stuff, giant robot shows and anime shows when I was a kid. So this presses all the right buttons. So yeah, this is really fun to start on the book. Here's page 2, fighting, and he's got stomach tentacles. His intestines or tentacles popping out and shoving Atomo Rosario into the containers. So he's not liking that. So apparently these are like experimented on by this like really evil dude on Earth, who isn't a main villain, by the way. There's this alien. Anyways, he did that at a different time. But anyways, created these like creatures. They're humans, and he did experiments on them and twisted them up and made them like cyborgs and stuff, and made them fight against Atomo. So there's page 2. Again, this is super fun to work on. All the stuff I love to draw, and I was able to design the all these characters, so that was extra fun too, to be able to design the characters that I'm working on. And here's page 3. Now Heavy Atomo was trying to get up from getting knocked down, but the dude's not going to let him, so he blasts him with his eye beams, and hits him pretty hard. Hopefully that comes across as getting hit really hard by eye beams. And then they're by a port, so why not pick up a boat to use as a weapon? So that's the end of page 3. Atomo is like in the foreground going, what the heck? So definite cliffhanger here. Let's see, one one, two. Yeah, it's going to be a cliffhanger in the book. It's third page. So you're going to find out what happens on page 4. I can't show you that yet because I don't have it right now. So I got to work on that. And the goal is to finish as much of the book as we can before the launch date. And the launch date I don't have right now. He's working some things out with like Indiegogo and stuff like that, having difficulty approving the project on there. But that's one of the sites he'd love to work on. Maybe Kickstarter, Fund My Comic, I think is going to be for sure. So when we have more of the exact information, I'll let you know. Okay. Yeah, now I need to get some work done on the character designs. Let me see if I can switch windows here. Remove. Now I'm like big again on the screen for you guys. Yeah, okay, now share screen. Yeah, really like, professional using all these this technology here. Yeah, I should be able to share this now. Sorry, please apologize. I apologize for my lack of smoothness here. I'm not smooth. Okay, got it. Here we go. Share screen, add it to the stage, pick the correct layout, and there she goes. All right, as you can tell, this is a sketch of one of the possible maybe teenage gang members that I did. I'll show you the other ones where I started. And I like to use this particular program named Sketchbook Pro. I could do the comic books pages in here, but I don't kind of like to because some of the tools on there are like not as intuitive as Clip Studio Paint. But I love just sketching in this thing, and especially it has a mirror function, which I use to start my character sketches to make it faster for me and iterate faster. Plus, it's just fun. It's like magic. And then it copies the side that I'm working on. But if I want to have a different kind of side or stuff on the other side, I'll just remove the mirror and stuff. But anyways, it's a fun way to iterate. And how I usually start with concept designs, I'll collect a whole bunch of reference. So that's what I did on this. I don't have any. I have them up, but it's in a different window. So it'll entail me to get out of the screen again. I don't want to do that. I'm a little bit tired tonight. So anyway, so I collected a whole bunch of like gang member, teenage reference, teenage fashion reference for this before I started, so to give me some ideas of how I wanted the sketches to come out. So here's the first one that I did. He's like one, everybody's got to have like the big husky fat guy, part of the gang, part of the group. That this guy is. And I think the story's set in present day, but it's just like a fictitious city. So anyways, I wanted to give them that kind of feel. So he's this big dude. He's got baggy jeans, big old coat with a hoodie. So that's the first one. And this is like Rosario. I haven't even seen these yet, so you guys get to see him before he does. And then I wanted to do like the tall, skinny guy. So that's I wanted like to give the gang members like a few different looks. I didn't want to just have the same look across all of them. So what I'm doing, he just needs 4 of them. I'm gonna probably do a few, like maybe 8 different things, different ones to pick from, and he can pick which 4 he wants. So the tall, lanky one. And here's one. I wanted to have like a kind of like a Vato type vibe. Someone from East LA. So he's got, you know, the bandana on the head, and um, you know, Hispanic, and you know, the shirt buttoned at the neck, long T-shirt, and the Dickie shorts. And he's gonna have you know, like these black shoes. They're really popular over there in Southern California, with you know, like white socks. Always got to be white socks. And the other last one I did. So this is four, but again, I want to give him more opportunities of characters to pick from. So I did like you know, thin, you know, skinny black dude, with kind of like a mix there, you know, vibe between the vato, you know, the low right, the Chicano kind of feel, and yeah, but you know, I thought he'd show off his really thin muscles. Um, Tank top, maybe I'll put a little bit of bling on him. He's got like a, you know, beanie cap. He's got Dickies on, but he's gonna have like tennis shoes, and probably, I'm not sure about the socks. But anyway, so this is the sketching that I have right now. So what I like to do is I lay down the sketches really um, lightly. This time I'm using like a blue. I'll use different colors because, you know, coloring is fun. And then go over it in a darker color. So I'd like to just detail this darker color. Right now, so you can get a better idea of what this dude is looking like. And for this, I'll do like a mid step with a darker blue. So you can see that. So I wanted him to have a hoodie. It's a little bit too big. Again, with digital stuff, you can do all kinds of undos. So, and I wanted this kid to have like just a small little head. Although I probably should raise it a little bit. Anyway, oh no, I'll bring this. Yeah, I probably want to raise his head a little bit. No, give him. Yeah, his head's he's got like no neck at all. I need to raise his head a little bit in the sketch. Again, I don't use the, you know, the this too much because, you know, the selection tools are just not fun. They're not very precise, especially they're not precise when, well, they're just not precise, especially when you want to keep the mirror function. So you have to kind of guesstimate. But I still like this. Plus, this is very cheap. It's only like $20 the program. So to me, that's like totally worth it. There we go. Okay, it looked like it kept the okay. Yeah, that's a little better. Oh, cool. Hey, what's up? Let me check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Yo, JJ writes. What's up, JJ? Um, it's thank you. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate it very much. So hope you're enjoying the stream. I want to get used to this too because I get so lost in working that I kind of miss comments, even though I do want you to comment. And also, if you guys want to come on, let me know. I don't, it doesn't matter whether you're a creator or not. If you're a comic book fan, just come on, and we'll talk about, you know, what why you're a comic book fan. What books you like, and whatever, where you're from. What's your favorite dessert, anything. So you're more than welcome. Just let me know in the comments. All right, so that's this one. I wanted to give this dude like a. I think this is. Yeah, I think I want to give him a. Yeah, I want to give him a cap, a backwards cap. Well, like a sideways cap. Let me. So like I don't have to worry about mirroring. Wait, no. Wait, gotta mirror that. Yeah. Wait, no. That's okay. Now I take away the mirror because I want this cap to be. There we go. Yeah, to be sideways. So that would be over here. I don't know why they have that little vent. I like how those caps that are fitted that do not have that little vent thing in the back, but I don't know if I do. Why am I putting it in here? Okay, it's a little bit big. I want it small because to show in relation to his head. So he's not. So to show like he's got a big head, with a small, tight-fitting cap. All right, got that in there. So yeah, this is one of the. I got to get in the groove, man, because yeah, normally I draw a little bit faster, but I need to wake up, man. Maybe I should get stick maybe. Oh yeah, give him some shades. Yeah, I had to drink some more coffee. I don't want to do that too much because it's like after it's 11:08 over here, so p.m. So it's gonna keep me up. I do not want to stay up. I need my beauty sleep. Yeah, I want to have like one of those big, like ribbed kind of. Well, maybe not ribbed. Anyways, I just want to give him like a big old jacket. I don't know why he needs like a big old jacket in Los Angeles, but okay, the place isn't exactly Los Angeles, but it's supposed to be kind of like Los Angeles. Anyways, he's got his hoodie underneath, and okay, now I'm kind of like getting into the groove. He's got his hoodie thing there. Yeah. Okay, now it's coming. I was thinking you guys have got to check out Basilis. He did a promo piece, a heavy Atomo promo piece, and it's awesome. It's great. I was just about to say some like newfangled slang that I heard the other day, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna stick to my guns and use the old slang I grew up with. Awesome is my word, man. I just love using awesome. It's awesome. Awesome with a little goofy accent. It's awesome. I got to get more reference for tennis shoes. So there we go. There's the first sketch of the first. This is supposed to be a teenager, so this is like a really big teenager. He like eats a lot of food at home. Okay, so that'll be a quick one, and I'm just gonna. These are just quick sketches. So what I'm gonna do is um, compile these on a sheet of paper, um, a file. You know, line them all up, take them away from the center, line them all up, and then send them over to Scribe so he can decide which ones he wants. And this one, this is gonna be kind of like a new wave kind of. I want to use that. That's my term, new wave. Kind of like gang member. He's got the the kind of like skinny jeans, but that are like really like the more they go to is they're like tight around his like knees and little bit lower thighs, knees, calves area, and like a little bit baggy up top, and they hang down. So I wanted that kind of look for this. I love concept design, coming up with designs for characters and creatures, and you know, um, whatever. Concept design is fun to do. Wanted to give him he's gonna have like different colored hair, maybe blue or something. I love just colored hair for characters. Again, that makes you reminisce of the Japanese the anime. One is mouth lower and nose lower. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There we go. I don't know why, but I like big noses on people. Big noses, long noses. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like small noses too, and short noses. But I don't discriminate against noses. Well, not too many times. Um, it's really great to and of course he's got a hoodie too. He has one of those jackets where the hoodie's built in. It's a little bit big on him, so it goes down, past his wrist. And he's got a long T-shirt. All the kids got long T-shirts, I think. I'm not a kid anymore, so I didn't know the current fashion, but that's why I get reference. And he's got the world famous Chuck All Stars, Converse All Stars, Chucks. The high tops. They always make for great design because they pop really well. Okay, so his I think I'm gonna give him a black jacket. So that's another choice for scribe. Black jacket. I don't know, maybe some gray jeans. What can the t-shirt can be? And right now, just stick a big. Maybe it's a Japanese sun or something. Okay. I probably give him some earrings, but I give him, well, not the earrings like those hoop things that stretch out your earlobe, because the kind of earrings I liked younger are not that in. I don't think that they're in style. So, who was messaging me? Somebody wants to come on. Let me stop and let him come on. I hope I can still sorry, I gotta send him the link. Okay, I'll have a guest on. JJ Trujillo, another fellow Latino, from the name anyway. Okay. Oops. So this second sketch is done. And let me go for the third one. Oops. Oh, wait. Sorry, I'm renaming the layers here. Okay. Okay. Oh, he's here. Here we go. Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, good to see you, Ben.
You too.
So right now you're working on Heavy Atomo, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yep, doing some concept design sketches for it right now.
Nice. So
Um,
how long does it usually take from when you look at a script to like
oh, you know what?
by the
Hold
time
on.
you start
Let
to
me
pencil
let
the
me
first
let me
page?
put on my headset.
Oh
I can
yeah,
hear
no
you a little
worries.
bit better. Please excuse me. Yeah, I have this fan on in the background, and it's making like it's kind of loud. So this should fix it. All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Wait,
Can you
hold
hear
on.
me?
Let me try it again. It's messing up.
You can't hear me? Okay.
Huh? It's not working now. Oh well, I'll just have to try with the.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because it won't work. I can't make my
Wait, what you could do? Here, plug them back in real quick.
Okay.
I think you're supposed to do, are if you go into Streamyard on another tab, you like make sure you have it open, and then at this part where you
Oh,
see
never mind. Here we go. It's working. The
it's working
functionality's.
now. Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. Let me put my headset.
okay. Can you hear me clear?
Okay. Yeah, I should be able to hear you.
Okay, cool,
Yeah, there we go.
awesome. So yeah, so I was just wondering, like, how what your process usually is when you start to work on a book. Like, do you do a bunch of different character designs first before you start to do the first page, or you kind of like do a little bit of, I guess, discovery drawing to kind of get an idea for the characters as well? I don't know.
It just depends what's needed. For example, on Atomo, heavy Atomo, nothing was designed. Like, just the main character in Atomo, the robot. So, and then even that was designed from the previous artist. So, because I was a new artist, he just Rosario decided to just totally redesign the those characters,
Right,
Brian. And then he also didn't have any concept designs for any of the other main characters, and so which is problematic because obviously you need to know what they look like so you can start.
right.
So if it's a project like this where nothing's designed, then I prefer to design all the necessary things.
Mhm.
So then we went through and that's what we did first. We designed all the main characters, um, and still doing that. That's why I'm doing these sketches. So there's still a few more that's got to be done.
Right.
Um, so yeah, because so it's a project like that, but some projects I get like everything's all designed, and so
Oh, interesting.
they just give me the script. So it just really
Mhm.
depends. Um,
And
and
then
then if
I saw you have a book that you're working on. Is that going to be your first book you publish yourself?
yes, yes, yeah, triple threat. Yep.
Nice, nice.
So yeah, I've had the story for like many years, and finally wanna publish it, and so yeah, that'll be my first one I've ever written. Also, like I haven't written anything before,
Yeah.
so
This
this
looks like
this
my cousin right here. The guy you're
oh, it
drawing.
does.
Yeah. We'll see,
I wanted
by the
to,
time it ends, how it plays out. But
yeah, I really like where I grew up in Southern California, and when just went up to LA, even in San Diego there was like a ton of these cholos.
yeah, yeah.
So I always thought that was like really cool, like you know design, really cool way to dress. Definitely made a cool tough statement.
But you live in Hungary though now, right?
Europe basically. Right now I'm
Oh,
in
okay.
Serbia. So
Oh, okay. Wow,
yeah,
that
yeah.
seems like a pretty huge change to go from East LA to Serbia.
Well, I went from Southern San Diego. Like I
Oh,
was
okay,
in East
okay.
LA. I had family in East LA, but I didn't
Gotcha,
live there.
gotcha,
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it was San Diego. But
gotcha.
that was a big change too.
Yeah, I'm just saying though, like going from California, Southern California, to like Eastern Europe, it's a very different. I don't know, just the way people act in Eastern Europe, it's very different.
Oh, all
Not
like
not a
the
bad
whole.
thing. I'm just saying,
Oh no,
it's
I
very,
think you're
very
right, and I
different.
love talking about that. Like I love it's all different. Like you come over here, and not just Eastern Europe, but all over Europe. Like
Right.
it's every place you go is so different than the United States. Like every place, they think different, they dress different, they talk, of course, talk different. There's different history. Their houses are laid out differently.
Yeah.
Like everything about their house. So you're definitely correct. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
and it's pretty strange too, because like in the United States, you need a car basically everywhere outside of, I'd say New York you could survive on a bike, but everywhere else, it's very very different the way cities are built.
oh, totally, man. It's way different, and I love that too. Like right now in Leskovets, I'm only like a five, uh, maybe 9-minute walk to the city center. And so, like, I don't ever drive. I just park right here, and every time I need some food or whatever, or want to go to the city center, I just like take a few minutes walk. And there's all tons of cafes. It's a big, espresso coffee culture. So there's always tons of cafes all over Europe. So to stop in, to work in. Um, there's tons of pharmacies because you have to walk around. So like just in this small area, there's like 10 or 15 different pharmacies, 10 or 15, 20 different cafes, restaurants, all right
Right.
here. And that's everywhere. Like I remember when I was in Italy, living there for a while, I was eating like tons of food every day, like tons of pasta, drinking like a wine every day, just like
Yeah.
stuffing my face with tons of carbohydrates. But
And
I
wine is
lost
so
weight.
cheap down there too.
Oh yeah, yeah, and so is the pasta, because they eat like, spaghetti every day.
Right.
Um,
But
but I
you
was
said you
eating
lost
so
weight doing
much.
that? You lost weight eating pasta, just pasta?
Yeah, no, I lost weight stuffing my face with all kinds of food all day long, every day, like drinking wine and pasta, carbohydrates, bread. Like every morning I'd have like this. It's a sweet breakfast, so it was like a chocolate, like kind of like a chocolate croissant. I forgot what it's called,
Right.
with a cappuccino, and because you walk everywhere. Like I would walk
Yeah, that's true.
like 45 minutes, down hills to catch the bus. 45 minutes return. When I'd go visit cities, I'd walk like from like 6 in the morning to 10 o'clock at night. Just walk all day, every day. So, and I was doing almost that the whole time I was in Italy, like 3 months. And so I was walking so much that I didn't gain any weight. I just lost weight.
Right.
And so I love that about Italy. I mean, Europe. You can walk a lot.
Yeah.
It's different than America.
Yeah, you can't do that in America. You'll get hit by a car.
Yeah, yeah. Plus, you got to go. You need to go to the market to go shopping and stuff like that.
Right.
Like
And
I just went
everything's
to
like
the.
way farther too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
It's
there
built
they
for
don't have
just.
like all the zoning laws we do. So like you just like I mean, it's like that in Latin America too, You're just like, oh, I need to go shop and you'll just kind of walk down the street. But here
Yeah,
they're like they separate businesses, houses. It's interesting.
because all this stuff was designed before cars. Especially the old medieval places, and
Right.
so a lot of the city centers and stuff, they don't have places to drive, and so I love that too. Like you just walk in these big piazzas to walk around in, and
Yeah.
um, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love cars, but I love this kind of situation too.
It's kind of nice if like you could walk everywhere, but then you also have a car. That's kind of I think
Yeah,
it would be
exactly.
nice if we built things, where kids could walk to school, but also you could walk to your work potentially, depending on where it's at. But everybody also has cars because it is kind of crazy how they tax cars a lot, up there comparatively. So it is a lot harder to get one. But um, you know, so I do kind
Yeah,
of like I like having a car better than just public transportation. But
yeah. It also depends where you're at, because, for example, if you're living in like Sofia, the city center of Sofia, or you're living in Paris, or you're living in, um, like Bordeaux or whatever, like having a car is a detriment.
yeah,
Because the public, or living in Prague or something like that, or Rome, because the public transportation is so good, and it's running all the time, and then you have to pay extra for parking, and have to deal with that when most of the time you just need to walk, or hop on the tram. So it just depends where you're at. Like even here, I'm in a small city. I don't ever drive my car. I drive it like once a week so I can charge the battery, and I just leave it sitting because I work at home. So it just depends where you're at. You're like that. And I mainly use my car to travel between cities. You know,
right,
um, and that's kind of it. But otherwise, you don't really need a car. And even like
yeah,
in like Skopje, it's a small city. you don't really need a car in that city. It's so small. There's no freeway. It's like all side streets with stoplights, and
Yeah.
but they use them anyway because why not? So you don't get to work late.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about it. And also, I don't know. It's kind of crazy because I know some people where they've had like bike accidents because if you live in a place where you don't have a car and you have your baby sitting in the back of your bike, it's actually more dangerous. If something hits you because the
Yeah,
baby doesn't
yeah,
have any like shielding. So
and yeah, that would be not so good.
right.
I've seen them do it here. I think with babies, yeah, they'll bring their babies on there. But even most of the time, even over here, they got cars. So they're just even the
Yeah,
small cities that put their babies in the car.
that's pretty cool though that you wound up over there.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. I just was so fascinated with Europe and the history and stuff. So
Yeah,
and then when I realized, like, I used to like to just work in cafes like Starbucks and stuff, and I realized, wow, I could like work in any cafe in the world.
and
And
yeah, it's true. In like the price of living in Serbia is probably a little cheaper, I would imagine, than
oh, well, it's cheaper for Americans.
okay.
Yeah, so for me, but it's not cheap for the people living here,
Yeah, it makes sense.
because the wages are so low. Um, so yes, if you're an American, you make American money, then you can it's great, because I get you get like a cappuccino for like less than $3, and coffee you get
Right,
it for
right.
$2. Um, like the food's cheaper, the rent's cheaper. Actually, they don't really rent here. Everybody buys apartments and stuff, but yeah, so it's cheaper with that stuff. But if you're not, but if you work here, if you live here, then it's not. It's
Yeah, it makes
it's
sense.
it's
Yeah,
still
because of the
hard.
conversion rate, basically, I guess. Yeah, because in I mean, like Western Europe, it's pretty expensive for an American,
Well,
generally.
no, again, it depends where you're going. Because like
Yeah,
when I
it's
was
true. If you're
when
in
I
if
was
you're in like a part of like Spain or Italy where they have a lot of vacancies, I guess
well,
not
no,
that
not
bad.
even that. Like I was in Perugia, and it's a pretty famous Italian city,
Uh-huh.
and stuff. And I live close to the city center, and I was paying $350 a month for my big huge studio,
Oh, that's great.
and then like this place, I'm in a big house. It's a 1 bedroom house in Leskovac. It's less than $500 a month, and
Yeah,
that's everything included. And in Belgrade, you could find, and there's all levels, but you could find places a little bit more than this,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's in the
I
capital
guess I'm
city.
thinking more like if you go to Germany or England, like those places tend to be, I don't know, just because they don't have as much land, right? So housing just kind of costs more.
Um, no, again, it depends. It depends where you're renting, and if you're renting or if you're buying. I guess if you're living there, it is. But even
Yeah.
there, like I was able to live, and I just rented a room at this place in this city called Cheltenham, and it's a
Mhm.
regular. England is more expensive than the mainland of Europe,
Right.
but compared to the United States, is not.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
unless you're in London, but even London is like less than San Diego to me, and stuff.
Yeah, I
So
guess that also probably depends on where you're at too, because I guess you're coming from the perspective of California. A lot of
yeah,
places
yeah. So
probably seem. Yeah,
I'm
that makes
comparing.
sense.
I pick compare also Eastern and Western Europe for sure. What Eastern Europe's cheaper than Western Europe,
Yeah.
uh, but even there, like it's easier
Yeah.
to travel around because all of Europe is just cheaper. I always compare it to United States, and then when you compare, of course, Eastern Europe to Western Europe, it's like a lot. Like you go to like Belgrade is cheaper than Paris, and Paris is still okay. Where are you? Where are you from? Where you live?
Um, I'm from this place that's kind of you know where India is? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. No, I'm from like the middle part of the United States. Like the Midwest.
Oh wow! And but you're Hispanic?
Yeah, yeah. I have so some of my family's from like northern Mexico. Some of my family's like Spanish.
Wow. Okay. So how did you end up in the Midwest? If you don't mind me
Um,
asking.
I think it was just yeah, like probably cheaper housing and stuff. I don't know, but
Because yeah, most of Well, I mean, not that Mexicans. I'm Mexican.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You can go any place, but majority of Mexicans are like in this, Southern California or Southern
Yeah,
or
or the Southwest or
Arizona.
Nevada or something. Yeah.
But then, although I was surprised, I went to a friend's wedding in Boston, and went to Harvard. And
Right.
for some reason, there's a ton of Mexicans over there. I was like
Yeah.
shocked. They have
There's
like
a
legit Mexican restaurants.
Yeah, there's actually everywhere now, really. But different parts of Mexico from depending on where you're at, right? So like it's strange because in parts of Michigan there's a lot, in Wisconsin there's a lot too in some places.
Really?
Ohio, yeah. Which you wouldn't really expect. I don't think it was always that way, honestly. I think it's kind of just getting more that way. Because I remember when I was a kid, there weren't that many people who spoke Spanish from around me, but now there's a lot more. So I guess it's probably just immigration trends. I don't know how long you've been in Europe, but
10 years.
oh, 10 years.
Yeah,
Okay,
it
yeah.
was.
So I don't know when that started, but
But then again, I have to admit, I don't have too much experience like with Hispanics in other parts of the country. Like,
yeah,
I haven't lived all over the United States, but because like I was in Southern California, there's a lot, of course, all of California,
yeah,
uh, Arizona, Texas.
yeah.
Uh,
Texas, at all the southwest,
yeah, yeah, and
and then
but
and even up when you go like to the northwest, there's still a lot. Like
yeah,
Idaho.
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm really surprised about that. Again, I guess because I grew up in Southern California, so I'm just used to seeing,
yeah.
Hispanics there.
I guess it is. It's also different too because the people from Southern California, they're usually from like Baja California or
Yes,
California del
yeah.
Sur. So it's like it is. Those states are different than other ones, right? Like if you're from like Sonora, it's a bit of a different culture, And then
Yeah.
like the farther east you go from there, like if you go more to like Chihuahua or to like Saltillo or something, or even Tamaulipas, it's like a little more like cowboy like. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
okay.
then
Okay.
yeah, and then
Yeah,
like
yeah, that's right. That's right. You're right
and
about
then I
that.
would say like Baja California is like a little more like urbanized, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So it's funny you get that again. You have all this so much different culture just within such a small area,
yeah,
um, that you get to check out. So you grew up there where you're at, like
yeah,
all the way?
I've lived in different places, I haven't ever lived in California, but I do have some family there, so I've been there before. Um,
Okay.
yeah, I've lived a little bit in the Southwest too. I like the Southwest. It's warmer. Like Arizona
Yeah,
would actually be kind of a nice place to live, except for they don't have water. So it's like that is one thing that kind
yeah.
of like if the zombie apocalypse happens,
Oh yeah,
what are you
yeah.
gonna
They're
do?
gonna they're gonna go there, man, and everybody's already gonna be dead because it's gonna be too hot already.
Yeah, because there's no water. But on the bright side, I think the zombies would all melt, right? So I don't know.
Probably, and that's where
But
I grew up. I was born in Yuma, Arizona, and I have a
oh,
lot of
really?
family in Phoenix.
Yeah,
And so,
I've lived some in Tucson. Tucson's cool.
yeah, I passed through Tucson, unfortunately. Um,
It's hot there.
yeah, it's very hot. I'm not a fan of the desert. I'm not a fan of it's so hot. Even right now, it's so hot here. I'm like trying my best not to complain.
Oh, really?
But I'm also used to it because again, I spent so many summers in Phoenix.
Well, did you ever do like roofing or anything like that? I used to do roofing, and so if you're out in the hot summer, like man, that's hard work.
I almost did roofing, but at the last minute I chickened out. So I used
Yeah,
to, yeah.
I only
But
did
no,
it
you
for one
can't do
summer because it sucks. Like when you're
it's so
climbing up
hard
on the
work.
roof, you have to like wear gloves the whole time, otherwise your hands will just like melt if you accidentally touch a tile. Like
Oh
when you
yeah,
don't
yeah, I would
go off, yeah,
imagine.
it's like
I'm glad I did not do that, but my heart goes out to you because that would be hot. That would be
yeah.
so hot.
Like
On
I said, I only lasted one summer doing that, but then
sad.
I used to doing that for one summer was kind of like enough, but
Still, you're tough, dude. To do one summer, even man, that is impressive. I have to say. So if I had had, I'd tip it off to you. Take it off. So
so
what are you doing now? Like, are you working on your own book or?
yeah, I actually do have a book. The problem, so I don't draw though, So like I have like thumbnails for it mostly. And then I kind of like put in preliminary letters. I'm trying to find an artist, but it's kind of like I don't really know exactly how to describe the book. It's a little bit like Moon Knight in a sense, but it's also maybe a little bit like Thor the Punisher. It's kind
Oh,
of like
really?
grounded in Mexican mythology, and
Okay.
it's about it's basically like a superhero in kind of like I don't really have a specific place in Mexico where it is. It's kind of based on a variety of places because it's kind of supposed to be everywhere. If that does that make sense? So I don't
Yeah, yeah.
name the city because it's kind of like that way anyone can pretend that it's where they live.
It's kind of like Metropolis or Gotham City.
Yeah, yeah, like
Kind of
Metropolis,
like
exactly.
yeah, that idea.
Yeah,
Okay.
kind of exactly like that. And so like I'll probably eventually come up for a name for it, but I kind of like right now I'm making it vague. Like sometimes you could be like, okay, maybe that's the north. Other times you're like, okay, that's the south or the center. Like where is it? But it's kind of everywhere, I guess.
That sounds the whole premise of it
Um,
sounds cool because I like all of those characters.
oh yeah, like Mexican mythology.
Yeah, but also I like that. But I mean, how you combine them like Thor and Moon Knight and stuff, and then you're combining it with
Oh
Mexican
yeah, yeah,
mythology.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's
Yeah, because
that's
it's
all sounds really cool.
yeah. The book is called Khan. That's the main character's name. It's kind of so he gets his powers from basically a deity, kind of like it's like a mix of Kukulkan and Quetzalcoatl, sort of. So like they're very similar concepts, but one was like the Aztec idea, one was like the Kije, the Mayan idea. So it's kind of like a fusion of the two things. But
Nice.
yeah,
What is the title of your book?
right now the temporary title I have is just calling it Khan, Kan, but I'm gonna come up with something else. I always it takes me the longest to come up with the titles because I always try and like I always do that at the end, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah. So I know Khan's not the best name. Like I feel like it's just missing something.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm a fan of like single names,
Right.
and it sounds kind of cool because it's a little mysterious, but it's still powerful. That name Khan,
Oh yeah, yeah.
it's
That's
a very
cool.
powerful name, and Kublai Khan,
Right, right.
it comes like with a lot of historical power behind it.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm wanting. And I don't know because I feel like a hero because I was playing around with his name a lot. But like I feel like a hero name is too long if it's 3 or 4 syllables. You know what I mean? Like four
Yeah.
syllables is definitely too much. Like but three you could do like there's Spider Man, Wonder
Or
Woman,
Captain
Thor.
America. Captain
Yeah, Captain
America.
America. But that's like Captain America. That's what four. Captain America.
Cap.
Oh, that's five.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to keep it to. I was playing around with different things, but yeah, Khan was kind of like the one that I ended on. Um, but yeah, so that's kind
That's
of yeah, that's like the book I have in the back burner, but I'm not really sure. It's really hard. Like I don't know. I guess there's kind of like I would describe it as like imagine if you have a baby and then you're like I have to die. Who am I going to give my baby to raise? Like
oh,
that's kind of what
okay.
it's like finding an artist because once you hand it off, it's off.
Yeah, yeah, and I understand, especially because it's not that easy to find an artist. Then when you get one, and
Right,
then it
right,
doesn't work out, then you're on the and on the search again.
right.
Um,
And that actually did happen. I did have like an artist I was working with a bit, and then it just things kind of fell apart. Which it is what it is.
oh yeah, yeah, it is tough to do that. And I yeah, it's on my side. It's different, obviously, because I'm an artist. But the
Right.
stuff I got to work on is the writing, and that's what I'm
Yeah.
very nervous about, because I haven't ever written anything before, like anything.
Right.
And even though I've had these stories for a long time, it's in the writing execution of it, and
Right.
it's the same thing too, like getting a writer, and then I wanted to get a writer, but then at the same time I realized, well, no, they're my stories, and I really want to
Yeah, and you want to
become
tell
a
it your
better
way.
writer. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm still nervous because I'm like, oh man, so I hope people like it. I hope my
Right.
writings, which I have to tell myself it probably won't be because it's my first time, but I still have to do
Yeah.
it. You
So
know.
how are you going about writing it? Are you going to kind of just are you going to doing it like page by page, or do you have like the ending figure it out and you're just going to kind of like build from there, or
Um, I
or do you
have
have
a
an
yeah,
outline?
Yeah, I outlined the whole all 5 issues, and so that's
Okay,
already outlined.
good.
I know what's going on in each issue, and I kind of took the idea from like Ryan Otley. Like I was reading one of his posts. They were asking him about how he writes, and I really liked it. He says he writes the outline for the whole story,
Yeah,
like from beginning to end. We know if it's a 5 issue miniseries, 2 issue, four, whatever, or just one issue, he'll write the whole thing, and then he from there he'll if it's a miniseries, he'll break that down into issues, and
yeah,
then he just keeps going lower from that. Break the issues into the story in the single issue, and then the
right.
single issue what's going on each page. So that's kind of how I did it, and because I had the whole story already like in my head, so that was helped me. So I knew from
That's
beginning
cool.
to end, and then I just had to break down per issue, and then decide what I wanted. So that's
I think
and then
it's smart.
I oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, and then I first did a plot like the Marvel method because it was easier for me to
Yeah,
do the pages. But then I realized since it's my first time writing, I think I'll do full scripts for myself just to practice writing, and then also I can have all the dialogue done,
yeah.
and then later I might switch to other faster ways to write the book.
Yeah, and I think the thing is too is like as you're writing it, if you realize you want to deviate from the plan some, you can. But I think it's really smart that you are outlining it, because even though there is like this debate, should we do creative writing or should you outline? And when I think about a lot of times what does work for creative writing, where it's open ended, and you don't really have a direction you're going. I think about like TV shows or, even like Stan Lee. That was kind of what he was doing a lot of times. But the reason why I think it works is because it was episodic and it wasn't really a connected story. And it, it's kind of just like you just have to get from the beginning to end, and then the next week you like wash, rinse, and repeat. Like you forget it. But the dangerous thing about doing that is sometimes you could make like a very big change and then it could just kind of like permanently you could push yourself into a corner. So for example, I don't know if are you a Star Wars fan a little bit, or were you
Yeah,
ever?
yeah, yeah. I'm definitely a Star Wars fan.
Okay, so for example, JJ Abrams, he's a guy where he does something, he calls it the mystery box. He doesn't really know what's going to happen. He just kind of is like a page ahead of the viewer. That was kind of what he does. So he'll think of like what would be the most shocking or surprising twist to keep them engaged. And that worked really well for Lost. But then when you think about like what he did with Star Wars, he's like, what if I just make Luke alone? He's like emotionally scarred and he's on an island, and then I'll just hand it. I don't know what's going to happen next. I'll just hand it off to the next guy. Basically, kind of the next guy who gets it, he's like, well, the only way this could happen is if he totally failed, you know, and maybe some people would like that story, but most people didn't. And so a lot of people were really upset, like Ryan Johnson, why'd you do that? But it was actually really mostly J.J. Abrams kind of put him in the corner. So there wasn't really like a viable way out of that.
Yeah, I don't like from the very beginning. I knew that I didn't want to do that. Like just intuitively for what I want to do, I have to know. Like I would be too unsettled if I didn't know where the story was going.
Right.
And then plus I loved when people said, know the end first, so then you know how to get there.
Right.
What. So I forget the name, but there's a term, there's a saying. I really like the saying, but anyways, that stuck with me a lot. And I'm like,
Yes.
yeah, that's what I want to do. And so I knew where I wanted to go, and that helped me to do the rest of the story. Like it would just made it so much easier.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and so I'm just not a fan of creative writing and stuff. Now I wouldn't mind doing that for fun, like to do
Right.
like a
Yeah. A
fun
short story. Yeah.
yeah, short story, because that's how like Mobius did a lot of his later stuff.
Right.
He just came up with a story page by page,
Yeah.
and but
And
not
it's
for
been
anything that matters.
yeah. And I like a lot of Mobius's later stuff, but at the same time, like it wasn't the same as the stuff he did before. Like
Yeah,
metal.
yeah,
And as far as like what I thought was more visually appealing, definitely like his earlier stuff.
yeah.
I'm
Me
not.
too.
And maybe I'm just like an uncultured knave. I don't know. But
I liked I liked all
like
of his
I
stuff.
think it's cool. I think it's cool, but I just it's not the same. I like the older stuff
Yeah,
better.
because I mean I first was introduced to Mobius on his last stuff, like a style that was open and colorful, and I loved it. But then I started checking out like Blueberry and stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so awesome, and which I liked it better.
And it was pretty cool, like at the end, how he was kind of trying to just do really simple shapes, like what could I do? And it is cool, but I'm just kind of, I liked it more when he was kind of putting more detail in it and that kind of stuff. But
yeah, I'm a big fan, like you said, of like outlining and stuff, and that helps whatever I do, whether it's a full script or a plot. If I have an outline to go by, then it'll help me break down pages. And then also I give myself the freedom to like even change stuff, so then I'm not locked in. And of course, when you're writing for yourself, you can do that really, really easily. So then that takes away the stress. I don't know if it's good, but that's how I write.
Yeah. No,
what about you?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I did have one book. So I have right now one novel, Long Live the Liar, which is on Amazon. But like I had before I released that, I had like a bunch of things that I just never published because, it didn't quite reach the level of where I was comfortable of, publishing. And I had like a Scholastic author work with me, on my book, which was good. But anyway, or editor, I mean, my bad, a Scholastic editor. He was kind of like an in-house guy. But anyway, nice. Definitely for me, like when I have done stuff where I'm just kind of discovery writing, it's okay for a short story, but it never has like quite the same payoff as when you get to the end and you already had like everything figured out beforehand.
Yeah, I just, for me, I just love that way. I don't like even the sound of what you just said, creative writing. I'm like, that's it's just unpleasant to me.
Yeah.
And then also to me it would be hard to start because you just have to sit down and start writing and you don't know where you're going. And then you get writers. To me, I imagine that's a great way to get writer's block. Instead
of
at
the end you do, yeah. In the beginning, it's fine. It's so easy because you're like, I don't know what's happening, But in the end, you're like, how do I make this all make sense?
Yeah. Plus, I start thinking like, well, how do I make the characters like relatable? How can I make them interact? And then that also makes it like not fun to do it that way. I feel like I could have a better handle on the characters and the story and how they interact and everything. If I plan it out, and then I could tweak stuff in that stage, and then that helps me come to the prose part.
Right. Yeah. And I see Katie did, by the way, in Subjugate Comics. Good to see you guys. But I don't know.
Oh yeah. Hey, what's up, Katie?
Any DC stuff from the 90s? A lot.
Yeah, I'm sure I did.
Okay. So, like, if
wait, hold on for a second, please. Thanks, Katie, for sharing the stream. I appreciate it. All right. Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, no problem. Like, if like Emerald, like, did you read any Green Lantern stuff, for example?
Only.
I don't know if you read if you've ever read Emerald Twilight. I don't know if you've read that. But,
I don't think so.
Okay, that's like when Hal Jordan goes evil, but it's really funny because at the end, it just kind of happens out of nowhere for the most part. But it's really funny because at the end, editorial, basically, they wrote this big letter and they said, we finally did it. Like, why did we do it? Was it because we were trying to just get, people to talk about the book, to raise a controversy or to copy other people? They're like, no, but that wasn't why. But you guys are talking about the book and reading it now, now that we did this. So they kind of admitted that was why, right? But they also said, like, we didn't really understand the character. Like, sometimes we would make him too nice. Sometimes we would make him a jerk. And I think that's kind of a problem that happens a lot of times in the mainstream comic book industry. Is just that, like, because it's a running story every week, it's too hard to make it, not every week, but every month, it's hard to make it so the character is, having like a actual story with an end in mind. And so it just kind of becomes like all the writers are kind of just, making stuff up. And, because there's no finality to it, it's like most of the issues don't really actually have much importance. And
that I could understand that.
Yeah.
I think I do like when they started. I don't know how long they've been doing this, but when they get together and start at least try to fix that by having like company wide writers planning meetings so they can like outline the next story and arc, and so all the so that they're at least they're trying to do that. They're trying to have some kind of cohesion to it, and
Right.
I mean, there's only so much you could do with a monthly book, and pretty much
Right.
you got to like kind of forget about the storyline beforehand, and like each new arc is its own thing. But
Exactly.
but so when they try to do it, at least that's something. But it is
Yeah.
difficult with a monthly book. Like a friend of mine, my David Williams, like I like his idea, like to put out books like a series of miniseries, and
Right.
every miniseries is its own contained story, and
Right.
then you'll do that, and then take a break for a while, and then start up another miniseries later with a different creative team. Um, but yeah, it's kind of difficult to even how to fix it because I love monthly comic books. That's what we're all fans
Right.
of. But at the same time,
It's like a problem where
yeah.
you can't fix it. It's just like I guess a limitation of the medium, you know.
And I guess true comic book fans don't mind it too much because
Yeah.
people have been collecting for years.
Right.
But I
It's
mean,
just
I don't like.
sometimes it can get a little annoying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When they don't like put in the work to 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 do their best to make the story come
Yeah.
out well within that limitation.
Right. Yeah, like when A Death in the Family happened, right? Batman was actually trying to kill the Joker
Oh,
because
really?
yeah, he was like kind of chasing him down. He's like, "This is it, like you can't do this again." But then Superman intervened and the federal government intervened, and they're like, "Yeah, you can't do that, because he's the ambassador to Iran, so it would start like a nuclear war or whatever. Not a nuclear war, but because they didn't have nukes, but a war, I guess." And yeah, so that's why. And then the Joker basically ended up escaping, magically. And
Uh,
but then after that, I think is kind of where it got weird because, like in the Red Hood, when Robin basically makes him confront the Joker, he's like, "You have to pick, like, kill him or kill me." And then he throws the batarang, and then it like hits him in the neck. It hits
oh,
Robin in the neck. It's like, oh, that's weird. Like that's kind of out of character. But I think it was just because there was this gradual change, where at first they made it so Batman couldn't get the Joker or like hold him accountable. But then eventually they're like, maybe we should just change his no kill rule and morph it, that way he would basically accidentally kill his own son over purposely killing the Joker. That way it justifies the Joker staying alive, because you can't kill the Joker, obviously. So it's like,
yeah,
how do you have
yeah,
Batman get a comeuppance after that? Like there isn't really like a way for him to solve it. So it kind of hurt his character, but at the same time, it is a cool story. Like I like the A Death in the Family, but it does kind of hurt the continuity a bit.
yeah. That it does that. I mean, that's why even like my hats off to like all the writers and creators because they're trying their best to do the best kind of stories they can in that kind of like continuation thing, and
Yeah.
so it really like in those kind of stories it really comes out when they did do a good job. Like there's so many memorable um, arcs, in history with stuff, and you could tell that the writers and the artists did like their best to portray, and obviously it won't all be done correctly, but it's just a difficult thing to be able to have to stick to a monthly book.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. But that's one
but
thing I like about the indie space, though, is you can really think about how can I make this really well done, not like a TV show, but a movie.
yeah,
Kind
yeah,
of like
exactly.
the big screen of comics, because you get to have a beginning and you get to have an end, and there's full character development, and so it really allows you guys to kind of focus on the story in a way where you can't find it, in the mainstream, which I think is awesome.
Yeah,
So
me too. And yeah, and there's so many different kinds of like genres that you're putting out. Um,
yeah,
now, personally, I love superheroes and science fiction, action, adventure, fantasy, that kind of
right,
stuff. But the indie space can bring people to do whatever they want to do, and they're doing that. And so that's really great too. There's not just because I think to open it up more like it is Japan. There's all different kinds of story, and they're also
right,
popular.
right.
They all have their different fans, and if it'd be awesome to be able to do that here. And like you said, the indie space can offer that.
Yeah, it's weird because I remember I was at now Barnes and Noble. They're pretty much like well, the one they let the manager basically kind of decide what they buy based off of local interests. And so the Barnes and Noble by my house is almost a comic book shop. Like
Oh,
half of
really?
it is like trade paperbacks, the other and manga and that kind of stuff. But it's interesting because you'll see all of these like middle-aged women, um, like buying these manga volumes that they're reading.
Really?
Yeah, which I thought was weird. But I saw like, these two 60-year-old women, like one was 60, one was 50. They were Mexican women, like flipping through like these different mangas, and I was just thinking that's interesting. You obviously wouldn't see them doing that with American comics, um, but yeah, it was just kind of a weird thing to see.
That's
It
awesome.
Yeah, it is different though with manga a little bit because like usually when I read a manga, I'm not actually paying as much attention to the art. You know what I mean? Like I'm just kind of reading it and flipping. Like once I finish reading the word, I flip the page. But there's a lot more detail oftentimes put in American art where I'm kind of like, and this is a bit of a generalization. It'll depend on who's drawing it, but I'm just saying by and large, most mangas that I've read, they're kind of people where they're working in a mill where they're trying to pump out the books as fast as they can.
Yeah.
Um,
Which in a way I respect, but in a way I don't. I like it, like if there could be
yeah,
like a happy medium
right.
to doing that. But yeah, well, it's weird. Like you're the opposite of me. Like when I read manga, I loved Masamune Shirow from Appleseed and Ghost in the Shell and other books that he's done, and then of course Katsuhiro Otomo from Akira and artists like
Oh
that.
yeah.
Like another one
Hmm.
from Silent Mobius. But I'm the opposite. Like I love those artists so much. I still to this day have not actually read a full issue of any Appleseed books. I just love the artwork so much, and so I just open up all those books. And I tried to read some Akira, and I tried to finish some Appleseed books and everything, but I get so caught up in the artwork, and because I
Yeah.
want to learn and grow, and I love it so much. So I'm like the opposite. I don't know if I've actually ever finished it.
Oh,
I probably
interesting.
finished a few, but yeah, I'm just such a huge fan of the
Yeah,
art.
if you look at a lot of stuff like shonen stuff, like Naruto, or like if you look at like Attack on Titan, those things are. It's not. Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of like you read it, but
Now, what about your book? Like, is it how many? Is it like a graphic novel? Is it a few
yeah. So
issues?
originally it was like 40 pages. Right now I'm probably at 24, but there's a few places I could add some spreads. Like I could definitely add some things, but yeah, it's honestly right now pretty small. I chopped it down a lot. I was talking to Patrick Quinlan and a few other people, and I actually chopped out like 5 or 6 pages of exposition from the beginning because um, I don't know, it just kind of it did give a lot of important context, but I realized, yeah, you're gonna want to add to that context later. Like it'll be kind of a mystery, I guess, and the
Oh, gotcha.
reader will learn some of that stuff. But the way that it opens up now is basically it starts out because the main character, he's a firefighter, so it shows him like basically um, where he's surrounded by fire and he's chopping with his axe, holding a boy, and he says, have you ever asked yourself how everything ends? Is like someone turns off a light and everything becomes dark, or is it like um, you're consumed by brightness and a new day is born? And then he says, I would be a liar if I told you I thought I would live a long life. My name is Josue Guerrero, and I'm a firefighter. And here I am fighting with the flames of hell and also its demons. And then it kind of like beneath that, it shows like the villain that he's fighting. This is before he gets his powers. But then it kind of goes black and it said, this is the story of how I died. So the first page, it kind of tells you basically, yeah, this is the story of how the main character dies. So it's kind of, a bit more of a hook, but than how I used to have it.
That is cool.
And
That's
then,
really cool. I like that.
oh, thank you.
That's really nice. It keeps me like I'm a huge fan of like action starting right away,
Yeah, yeah,
or something where it's written like to where it gives you like a really great mystery.
Right.
that's laid out, so you want to know. And to me, that's action too, whether it's words or whether it's movement. And you've
Yeah.
captured like the word side. Like now, I want to like know, oh crap, what's next? They both
Right.
give
Yeah.
me the
Yeah.
same feeling, like what is next? And yeah, that's it, tons of, it loads you up with a ton of mystery where you just got to like turn the page.
Yeah, and the next page is kind of cool too because the way it starts out is, or the next page on what happens. So he says like, it all started like a normal day at work, and then you see there's these goons where they're like gagging this woman. They have a knife and they're trying to like kidnap her, and then he's being a little sarcastic, like it's not like every day's like that. But he basically intervenes. He beats up the people. He saves the woman, but he goes to work. But then, yeah, so that's like kind of the start of his journey. But yeah, like it basically the middle of the story is when he dies, and he actually gets his powers basically while he dies, and so he's
Oh
basically
wow.
reborn. And then yeah, it ends basically kind of with him killing off a lot of the bad people they were dealing with. But there's kind of like the main bad guy from, well, the main bad guy that he's fighting in this book is actually not like the bad guy, if that makes sense. He's like the underling. But yeah, that guy escapes, and then yeah, so it kind of ends on a bit of a cliffhanger. But
That sounds really cool. Like
thanks,
really,
man.
really fun to work on. Just the way you describe it. Especially his origin. Is it kind of like that Chitchat or whatever, that bird
Yeah,
that is kind of like
yeah,
the phoenix?
yeah. Well, because what happens is, what actually inspired the idea was I remember as a little kid I was reading the Aztec creation myth about this guy named Nanahuatzin, right? So there were two gods. There's a humble god, and then there was a prideful god. The humble god, his body was covered in boils, and he was wearing rags. The prideful god, he had jewelry and beads. And so the prideful god basically, or all the gods were telling, or like the main gods were saying, if whoever throws himself in this bonfire will rise up and be born as the new sun, and they'll give humanity light. So the prideful god wanted to do it. That way, everyone would think that he was, a hero, but he didn't want to suffer, so he didn't want to jump in the fire. So he kind of like wanted his cake and eat it too, like he wanted everyone to worship him, but he didn't want to do something brave and difficult.
So he could earn the worship. He just
Right,
like,
exactly. He didn't want
yeah.
to earn it. He wanted to be worshipped, but he didn't want to earn it. So the humble god basically he volunteers, and then afterwards the prideful god's like, oh, me too, because he doesn't want to get shown up. But the humble god thrusts himself in the fire, and because the prideful god chickened out, so he rises up into the sun, and it's like the sky's bleeding. It turns red, so everybody falls down and they worship him. So the prideful god gets angry, so he jumps in the fire, but since the fire kind of dimmed down, he doesn't burn as brightly. So he rises up and he becomes the moon. So basically, every night, when the sun falls, it's because the moon is attacking him, so he's bleeding. And then when the sun rises again, he's bleeding, but he's rising up, and he beats the moon. So they kind of see it as like this eternal battle between the sun and the moon. So the idea basically is the main character, he throws himself into the fire, kind of like that god does, and he sort of becomes like the new sun in a sense. And yeah, so he's a firefighter. And what happens is basically the fire they're putting out was caused by a cartel. Everybody else
Okay.
is too afraid to go put it out because they're like, if we put it out, we'll get killed. We can't. The fire chief is like, we can't put it out. If we do, we get killed. That's something that happens, in Mexico, unfortunately.
Yeah,
So
a lot of crap stuff like that happens in Mexico.
yeah, so basically they're like, yeah, we can't put out the fire. And so he's like, I'm gonna go in and try and save some people, and he runs in, and then basically while he's running in, he finds the son of the family who are being murdered, but like the whole building just collapses on top of the both of them, and they die, but they get reborn.
Wow,
So,
that's a pretty intense origin story.
thank you. Yeah. Yeah, it's actually like the way I'm describing it is not as intense. Like if I showed you some of the thumbnails, like it gets a little more intense than I'm describing it. Like it is in a sense, it's a little dark, but overall the message is a hopeful one, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, like you seem like you're using it to contrast, like the darkness,
Yes.
and then so the hope and everything like is much bigger later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds really, really, really cool. And I can't. Now, I'm sorry. Did you say it was going to be like just a graphic novel, or is it a miniseries, or?
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be a mini series. Right now, like I don't have the ending in the first issue, right? But like the first issue is just right now it's like 24 pages. But yeah, it's basically I have different arcs, planned out. Like basically until the hero dies, which is how it ends. But but yeah, I mean, it's basically like the first part of the miniseries is kind of like, or the first miniseries would be kind of like the equivalent of Batman Year One. Like him gaining his powers and understanding how they work, and kind of yeah, like fighting the
Nice.
main boss. He does end up defeating him and killing him, but then something else happens, so he has to fight him, later. So yeah.
And then he's basically, yeah, like you said, this is a Thor thing. So he's got like the powers of the god or something
Yeah,
like
yeah. Like, let me see. Maybe, yeah. Basically, that is exactly right. Basically, what happens is he's given a feather, like a Quetzal feather, because a god is kind of like Quetzalcoatl or Kukulkan a little bit. Like the feathered serpent. So
Mm-hmm.
while he dies, basically he's given one of these feathers, and there's like something he has to say. He has to say like, I will thrust myself into the fire and rise like the burning sun. And when he says that, he transforms into his superhero. But he kind of looks a little bit like an Aztec warrior.
Okay.
He has kind of like this trailing feather behind him, sort of like a Quetzal bird. Have you seen Quetzals before? They're
I
like big
I think
green.
so. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like these tropical birds, but they have like these giant green feathers trailing behind them, sort of like a wedding dress. Yeah.
Almost like a peacock.
Yeah, almost like a peacock. Yeah. And yeah, the cool thing about these birds is they can't actually live in captivity. Like if you try
Oh,
and put them in
really?
a zoo, they die. Yeah, from just sorrow. But
Whoa. So
yeah,
it's like it's got to be free. So it's almost like almost that's a whole story in itself about the hero. He's got to be free to be able to live and survive and help people.
right. Yeah. Yeah, and so basically his powers are all kind of tied to that, to the feathered serpent, and so like he also can basically will get more feathers as he does certain things. So each time he gets a new feather, basically his power level goes up. But he has the ability to like jump pretty high, kind of like Superman was, originally. So he can't
Yeah.
fly
Like
yet, but like he
okay.
can jump high and jump far, like kind of glide. Super strength. He basically has like an armor, so if you shoot him with bullets, it's not going to kill him. So
Nice. I love characters like that. Those like a lot of my characters are just like they have the basic superhero powers because I'm like a huge fan of like
uh huh.
the regular superpowers. I don't like weird powers. Like a lot of the X-Men have like these really strange powers. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, to me it's just like I don't know how many characters I've created that it's basically Superman or Wonder Man. But
Right.
I just
But it's
love
fun
those.
though.
It
It's fun.
is, and it's like kind of like helps you to like focus more on who that character is as a person, and like and their powers is kind of like just an addition, and
Right.
I like that too because I don't know, it gives you yeah more impetus to put to make their who they are creatively, not just
Right.
a basic superhero, but they have the basic superhero powers.
Right. Right.
Like my triple threat characters like that. Like I thought about giving him like original powers, but I'm like, forget it. Like the first one, I really love like Wonder Man, of course, and then I also love Giant Man, and so he's kind of like a combination of that. He's really strong, and then he can grow like to like 15 feet high, maybe 20. So not too tall, but the
Right.
higher higher he grows, taller he grows, the stronger he gets. And so, but when he does that, he his endurance kind of lowers, and
Right. No,
so
that's good
that
that you do that because you can kind of set up some limitations for it,
yeah,
which makes it
yeah.
interesting.
And so when he gets the bigger he gets, he's got to like defeat the enemy faster because he'll get weaker
Right, because
faster.
yeah, exactly. It runs out.
And then Fury. That's Atlas, and then Fury is, and then of course he's invulnerable and stuff. And a big like I got a really big influence from that Atlas character because in the old Teen Titans comic book with George Perez was on it. Like I think it was
Yeah.
like from the first 10 issues. There's a character there named Starfire, but it's not.
Right.
It's the old Starfire, and he's just basically Wonder Man. And he's got goggles. He's got a green costume, and I always loved that costume design and stuff. So this character is kind of like a little bit based on that, except mixed with like Giant Man a little bit.
Yeah.
And then the second character is Fury, and she's like Sunfire, except for a girl. Except she can control her fire powers like a little bit more. Like she can make like a force field with her powers, and
Nice.
also helps her to run. It propels her to run faster, not just fly fast. So she can run really fast and fly fast. And then Shrike is just your basic like martial, like super fast. He has a little bit heightened strength and endurance and speed, but not like Flash. He's like Spider-Man, and so
Okay.
but he's not that strong. He's
Gotcha. He's
got
got
the
the speed and the endurance, but not quite the strength.
yeah, he's like maybe as strong as two grown men.
Okay.
And that's it. But he's more the martial artist, and I'm a huge Gotcha Man fan, and so his costume is kind of based on the Battle of the Planets Gotcha Man costume.
Oh yeah. That's
So
cool.
and so he can glide. That's why his name is Shrike, and he's got like these blades.
Right.
And so that's the character, but the basic characters. But I want the focus to be like on their story, like who they are, and like basically kind of the stories like them, like learning how to be heroes, first survive, and then learn how to be heroes, and just learn how to be a family because they were genetically created in a lab, and so they have to learn like everything about like being a human and stuff. And so I really value like family, so it's got like that's a big part of the story, as well as like your crazy villain who wants to take over the world. I like big stuff, so I like whatever. He just wants to take over the world, man. That's what he wants to do.
Well, that's what makes Teen Titans and Fantastic Four. What made them so fun, was you kind of have this vibe of these very different personalities. Like you think about how most people we know really don't have the personality to be a movie character or a comic book character. You know what I mean? But like, I don't know. It's just kind of funny to see how different you can make these characters, and then there's kind of some clashing, but ultimately they all complement each other.
Yeah, exactly. Clashing and how they interact, how they, because friends and family, they have fights and they get along. Like how they do that, and how they do it within their life, and how they're learning how to be people, and then interact with the outside world. And so I love all those dynamics, because they help propel the story. Let me see this. Oh, who's get a
One Gun. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. You just start for Eric Larson back in the day. Your style and Jason Pearson are so similar. Have you ever thought of drawing body bags? Oh yeah. Thank you. Jason's artwork is appreciate the comparison. I have a long story behind that, but of course I was always a huge Jason Pearson fan. I used to know him, like hanging out with him back, a long time ago when I was first.
Cool.
And I love his style so much that I wanted to draw like him. He was one of my inspirations. So that's probably why, you think more so before. I didn't think any, like I draw that way currently, but if you think so, that's fine. I haven't ever thought of drawing body bags because I just don't like the characters. Like I don't like the world. I liked it because he drew it, and I thought the world was kind of interesting. So don't get me wrong on that. Like I thought the world was interesting, the characters were interesting, but it was that story is too violent for me. And like I don't like in one comic book he draws this one dude stab a pregnant woman, and yeah. I'm like sorry, that's just too much. And all the books that way is like very violent, like over the top, and so that's what I don't like about it. But I love the city. I love how he created them. I love the characters, how he designed them. Those characters was originally supposed to be different. Like the whole story was different. Like originally, that had that one big buff dude. I forgot and his name was different. Like his name was like Smiley Face or something like that. And because the big face on his mask, but the girl wasn't his daughter originally. It was like a Japanese evil girl spirit named Ono. And so that was the original idea behind body bags. And so I like so he changed even that up completely, like to make them be father and daughter and be yeah, have that kind of dynamic. So um, yeah. So anyways, yeah, I hope that answers your question. Um, although I appreciate those books though, because again I loved Jason's artwork.
Yeah. There's
Um,
always like, I don't know, everyone's always, well, not, I shouldn't say everyone, but I think most people kind of have a limit. What's your tolerance for, violence or sex or different stuff like that in comic books? It's kind of,
yeah, yeah, I definitely have my limit. Like I like I'm just a fan of like the regular superhero violence. I
yeah,
don't like I don't like it when people like they just punch, throw you into walls, like maybe give you a bloody nose, maybe.
yeah,
But I don't like heads getting ripped off or punching people's chests out and ripping out
right.
hearts and
Eh,
that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Like, my book has a lot of violence, but I try and make it more like implied violence, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
you don't see it, but you know it's happening. But yeah,
yeah. Even I don't even like stories about like women getting like attacked and stuff. But
yeah,
if they do have that, like have it be implied, like have it be like
right,
off camera.
yeah,
So yeah, I definitely have my and I don't like drawing nudity. I don't like
yeah,
drawing yeah, too much like sexual stuff. I'm like all my books are like basic superhero action adventure books,
yeah,
and I'm hoping the stories and interaction between characters will be what's and of course a lot of superhero action will be what people enjoy about my stuff.
right,
I mean, but again, to each their own. Everybody has fans. Like I don't like scary movies. Like so I don't like horror comics and stuff like that.
right.
So I don't write about that. But yeah, I don't. I'm your basic like happy movie. Good guy wins in the end,
Yeah.
and no gore, no serial killers.
I
Um,
kind of like leaving things at a Indiana Jones one, Raiders of the Lost Ark, or like Lord of the Rings type level.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
kind of where I'm at.
yeah, and so that's me. But again, people again in any space can do whatever they want, and I love
Yeah.
that. Because there's all the fans for that kind of stuff. But okay, what is Subject Comics here says? I treat my story like a dungeon master in D&D. All my characters have their own motives and backstories. I just let them do their thing, and if they die, I go back and try. Well, that's kind of a neat way to think about it. What do you think about that?
I mean, with D&D, you can do what you want in D&D because it's it's not, it's you just doing it for fun. But I don't know. Like for me, I think I think it's generally best to try and avoid backing yourself into a corner for if
Uh,
you're actually publishing something. But each his own.
I do like what I like about this is to really know your characters and know their
Yeah.
backstories because if you know who they are and what they're going to do in a story, it kind of helps you with the story
Right.
because
It's got to be organic.
yeah. So but that's also kind of the planning too because if your character only acts this way, it doesn't prevent them from like doing something different out of
Mhm.
character sometimes. But for the most part, like if a person is a good guy, most of the time he's going to be doing good things, and then
Right.
occasionally he might like do something bad, which we all do the same thing, but it will be out of character. And
Yeah.
so that kind of stuff will kind of like help to drive your stories if you know the characters a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
you definitely have to have that figured out. Like, well, you have to kind of think of it as how would this person talk, how would this person react, not the other.
yeah,
And so
exactly.
definitely that's something where I think where once you start in the process, you might realize that your plan wasn't the best. You might go, this wasn't quite organic. Um,
Yeah, it's I really want to get a handle on writing, man, because I find it so fascinating. It's
mhm.
discouraging because it
The
takes
hard,
skill to do,
yeah,
but but also the desire to have that skill is also nice.
it's
To
also weird too because when you're when someone is a good writer, you don't know really. Like you could just tell someone I write books, anyone can say that, and for all you know, maybe they're writing like all those books you see at Goodwill of like women smut books, and there's an audience for that. But I'm just saying, not necessarily like great quality. I mean, maybe
Yeah,
page turners, maybe people like reading them, but I'm just saying that like you can't tell right away until you finish something if someone's actually good at it or not. But like I could flip through something you've illustrated and you realize pretty quick, oh yeah, like you figure out like Ben's, nobody knows what he's talking about.
yeah.
Um,
That's why, like, when people they say like when you're going to pitch a story, pitch it with an artist, because there's more of a chance someone's going to actually read the pages if there's art. If there's just a script, they there's less chance. Not that they don't, but there's just
right.
less.
And that's the hard part is you have to make sure when you're in the indie sphere, especially, that you do have a very good artist with you for the project that you're doing, right? As well, because obviously, if I was going to go up to you, Ben, and say like, hey, I have this book where it's about this cult of people where they sacrifice pregnant ladies, you'd probably be like, yeah, that's not something I'd want to work on. You
Yeah,
wouldn't be the artist for that project, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I definitely have turned down projects because of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, want to make sure it's yeah, it's like, yeah, above board for me. Where another artist might do it, like for example, I might have a problem, um, like drawing Spawn,
Right.
because it's just so dark and his origin is
Right.
very
Right.
dark, and he's a superhero and stuff, but still it's might be a little bit too much for me.
Right.
Now probably have a problem refusing. Like if Todd McFarlane asked me to do Spawn, I'd be like, oh my gosh, that would
Yeah, you kind
be
of have to say yeah.
yeah, it would be so difficult to say no. Um, but yeah, it's like Spawn is like a little bit too dark for me, of a book. I'm again like because my favorite superheroes is Captain America, and he's
Oh,
not
okay.
at all.
For a
Like
second, I
he's
thought
like
you were going to say Spider Man, but
no, like I Spider Man's okay, but he's not one of
yeah.
my favorites.
Okay.
And but like Captain America's like my favorite, and like I don't even like Superman or Batman,
Uh huh.
and
Oh,
nobody
really?
get mad at me. But I like their sidekicks better. Or Superman doesn't have a sidekick, but I like Nightwing more than Batman.
Oh, interesting.
And I like superheroes that are like Superman, but I don't like him.
Yeah.
And so it's weird like that.
Yeah.
But I
I'm not.
like Superman's attitude though. I like his attitude.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not a super huge Superman fan, but there are some different runs of Superman I've enjoyed. But yeah, I wouldn't consider myself, the biggest Superman fan in the world either.
But yeah, but I just love heroes like Captain America. He's so goody two shoes, and I love that. He just
Yeah.
does his best to help people, and even Batman's a little bit too dark for me, but Nightwing isn't. And so
Yeah.
I like that like positiveness about him.
Right.
Um, no, I do like that positiveness about Spider-Man. So I do like Spider-Man. He's just not one of my favorites.
Yeah, I
Um,
got you.
so yeah, I'm more like that. So I probably wouldn't be like drawing like Doctor Strange book, or
Right.
like stuff
Punisher.
like that. Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't do a Punisher. Like, yeah, no, no. I do a sketch of Punisher, but I wouldn't do the book.
Yeah.
And I don't mind characters that do kill, but it's depending on like why they're killing. For example, like Captain America killed people in the Avengers, the movie,
Right.
but there was a reason behind it. He wasn't like murdering them,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that kind of stuff is okay if you're in a war, but not like Punisher. Like that's gory.
Yeah.
Um, what about you? What are some of your favorite kind of heroes?
Um, I do like the Punisher actually a lot. I like Batman a lot. Um, I like Spider Man, Wolverine. All the X Men are really interesting. Um, I'm trying to think of like specifically. Yeah, Green Lantern's cool. Flash is cool. Martian Manhunter is pretty cool. I like a lot of different things.
Do you
I guess
like
I'm probably
like
a little bit more of
do
a
you like?
DC guy, but I like Marvel too. Moon Knight's
Yeah,
cool.
I was just gonna ask you like which
Those
one do you
cool.
like more, like Marvel or DC?
I think I mostly like DC more. When I was a kid, I would have said Marvel. They're both really good. I think there's a lot of great stories in both places. But I guess part of where I did get started on was Sergeant Rock, which was DC. I mean, it started out as quality comics, I guess, but yeah, that I would say DC's always been a little more interesting to me. But I really love
What?
Jack. I'm a sucker for Jack Kirby.
Oh, okay. Well, he did DC. He did both Marvel and DC.
He did, yeah. New Gods was great. But I mean, when I think of Jack Kirby, it is true he did do both. But I think that the best stuff Jack Kirby did was when he was working, Fantastic Four with Stan Lee.
Ah, okay.
But I
Now,
love a lot
why?
of the stuff he did. Machine Man, Black Panther. I actually have like the first 5 issues of Black Panther, the original first printings.
Wow,
Um,
that's amazing.
yeah, Machine Man. I've got like a few issues. I think up to 4 issues. That one's a little easier to find. But
Okay.
yeah, his Fantastic Four stuff, getting the first printings, it gets kind of pricey. When you're getting the key issues. So
Yeah. Now,
yeah.
why did you like DC more than Marvel?
That's a good question, and I'm actually kind of having trouble sort of figuring out why. Maybe it. So let me think about this. I guess I really do just kind of like Batman. That is a huge part of it. And I think what I like about Batman is I think it's really interesting how, in a sense, he is really an altruistic character, kind of like Captain America, but in a slightly different way. Like he's pretty disciplined. He's very like persistent and he's very calculated.
Okay.
Um, but I mean, you wouldn't think of him necessarily as an altruistic, hero, but he really is.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think he is. I mean, because he helps people. I mean, he does go after the bad guy like hard, but he helps
yeah,
people. He does it, and he really wants to help people.
right.
So you like DC mainly because of Batman?
Yeah, Batman I think is pretty cool, but I guess like how should I word this? I feel like there's just kind of a certain gravity that DC has that Marvel doesn't with their stories. Like they've kind of, especially, mm, I don't know. Like I feel like sometimes Marvel is a little too. I get when I say light, I don't mean that like just that it's violent or something, but I just feel like um, I'm not even sure how to express this. It just feels like a little more uh, I don't know. I feel like there's maybe it is partially that Batman has like a certain level of darkness that doesn't really exist in Marvel for a lot of parts. But I do feel like sometimes maybe Marvel's just like a little too um, not inflated. I'm trying to think of how to describe this. But I feel like there's sort of like a gravity a lot of times with DC stories where you're like, whoa, like how'd that happen?
Hmm.
And and yeah, I guess maybe it is kind of like a darkness weight to it. I wouldn't say it's more realistic because they're both fiction. Some people say stuff like that. They're like, "This is real." It's like, no, it's not. It's just a fiction book. But yeah, I don't know. As a kid, I did like Marvel more, but
Yeah, for me, the reason why I like Marvel more is because like it's funny that you say that thing about realism. To me, that was one of the reasons I liked them because to me, again, they were both fantastical, like fiction, totally fictional, worlds. But first off, like DC had all those made up cities, and I did
yeah,
not
yeah,
like
yeah,
that. I loved that Spider-Man was in New York, and
right,
I loved, that most of the heroes were in New York. It was a real place. And so when you're a kid, you want to do make believe, but then it also is kind of neat to think like, well, I could do that. You know, I could
right.
go to that place. I could actually be a superhero because it's in the real world. And so that was a big draw to me. And then also, um, more so there was like it was like in a movie. Like when you watch a movie, you can accept certain things unless the director goes beyond I don't know what the term is,
Yeah,
believability.
just
Like,
like a certain believability level. Yeah,
yeah, and so to me, Marvel always kept that because it was in real world cities, and then a lot of the characters, he got into their love lives, their relationships, their relationships with their wife or their girlfriend, or with the friends that were friends or their fathers, and so it delved into that, and that's how it was in real life. They did that more so than DC. Like DC, all they were fighting are these fictional villains. That was
Mhm.
most of the stories, which I like. But then, like with Spider-Man, he would fight the villains, but then he'd have to it also make a big impact on his real life. And so
Yeah.
like it show him like not getting he'd barely be functioning because he wasn't getting any sleep. He lost jobs. He
Right.
left because he couldn't make it to the classes, and and
Yeah.
so it really affected. And like a lot of the stories were like that with um, them, and so it gave it even more of a reason why you should have secret identities. It wasn't
I
just because,
guess.
oh, I should have a secret.
Yeah, I guess that's one reason why I really like Danny O'Neill's era of Batman, because it kind of had a heavy focus on like Two Face, Joker, like these villains where they could kind of be, real psychos in real life like that. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, that's kind of like the. It's usually I don't really like Clayface as much, or Killer Croc. Um, they, I know some people really like them, and that's fine. But I prefer it when he's fighting against, Two Face, Joker, just people. Bane, Bane I think is really cool. But
yeah,
where it's like, yeah, that could be an actual, like Bane, that he's like this terrorist from, some communist country in Latin America. Like that could be a real person. The Joker could be like an actual psycho, like genius psychopath. That could be a real person. Or same with Two Face. Uh,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah, the a lot of the like the science fiction villains in Batman, I don't think those fit. But I don't know. I like the cosmic stuff with Green Lantern, and that is, you're right, that is very not grounded at all.
And
But
they
there
could
is something kind
they
of fun
could do
about it.
grounded stuff because like yeah, that's in space, but then they could really play up the relationship between the people and stuff, and like
Yeah,
how it affects their lives, and maybe they'll get tired more, or they'll get an injury where they it takes them a few issues to recover from, and that
yeah.
kind of stuff like really
That's
show.
one of the fun things about his original origin story for Hal Jordan and Emerald Dawn 2 is he's in jail the whole time, because he had like he was drinking and driving on Earth, so he got thrown up in jail, and
Ah, okay, yeah,
yeah, and
that's
so it kind of
cool.
adds like a lot of tension.
I,
It's
I like that. That's really I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
yeah,
I
but
oh, go
oh,
ahead. What
sorry.
are you gonna, so do you like that kind of stuff to put in instead of your stories?
Oh, like, do I like to do that kind of stuff in my stories?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. Like in the main character in my story, for example, he actually gets fired right after he gets his powers. He goes back, he walks back to his job. I'm spoiling the ending, but I think people listening now will probably forget it by the time I get the book out.
Yeah, like, and plus I don't have like too many followers, so I
Yeah,
want to get more followers, but yeah.
but yeah, so he like walks back to the fire station, and he gets fired for jumping out of the fire engine and running into the fire because they were like, yeah, don't do that. And so yeah, he loses his job, and so that's kind of something he has to deal with in the next issues.
I love that. That's awesome. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like really affecting his life, and so he's just like doesn't get these powers and makes everything better. It's like really
No.
shows an effect on his life.
Yeah, and then part of them, because even though like he does like actually he does a lot of the people he's fighting, he is like killing them, but it's not like in a violent. Well, I should say it's not in a graphic way, right? So there's a part where like he picks up a van, that the or he smashes through the van, basically like through the windshield, and he grabs one of the people, and then the other one jumps out of the van, and then he later throws the van on top of the guy who ran away.
Oh
Um,
man,
and so, yeah, you don't really like see the person get squashed, but it is a
he's
really
like yeah. It seems like he's by the character because he's like killing the bad guys.
yeah. But
Is
part of
he?
the
Oh,
limitation is, he can't. He has to be careful because if people find out who he is, then his family's in trouble. Or sometimes
okay.
like they'll hold people hostage, that kind of thing. So they'll kind of like those are different ways he'll be kept in check.
Oh, gotcha. Is there a super villain too that he's fighting?
At the beginning, there isn't. At the beginning, he's kind of dealing sort of like with someone where he's like sort of he's dealing with this guy who calls himself El Dios de la Muerte, like the god of death. And he's like the head of a cartel, but he's kind of like aggrandized himself, where he sort of thinks that he's actually a god in a sense. But in the end, when he does kill that guy, he doesn't. It's not like, well, it's not like he kills him, but like he fights him and his palace catches on fire, and so he dies. But he does get powers basically from like the rival god of the one that gave the protagonist his powers. So at that point, he will be fighting a supervillain. There's like somewhat like a witch he'll be fighting also later. So, but at the beginning, at first, no, he's not fighting with people with superpowers immediately. But it does kind of like add up a little bit that way, as the story goes on.
Well, that's kind of cool because then it gets a chance to like he can learn and grow, and
Right.
maybe if he like battled superpower people from the beginning, he would have gotten defeated really easy because he's just learning about his powers. So he kind of gets to test him out on these like non-powered people.
Right. Yeah. And like, even though he has powers, there's still limitations to it. Like he can't. He's not like modern day Superman where he can just fly into space and grab a nuclear missile, and
Yeah,
redirect it somewhere.
and he's still like learning his powers.
Yeah, and he still does have like vulnerability, to a certain point. So, and the other thing is he also, if he's not in his superhero form, he is completely vulnerable, right? So,
Yeah. He's wow. Okay, so it's not like it's kind of like Billy Batson from Captain Marvel, like when
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like Captain Marvel kind of a little bit. Yeah.
And that's another one of my favorite characters that I like more than Superman.
Yeah, I like Billy Batson better too because you have I don't know if you heard of Demifoot by Darren Wagner, but it kind of is something similar too, right? Where it's this guy where he's this crippled vet, but then he can transform into this almost this Bigfoot type monster. And but it's cool though
Wow.
because he's like he's not, I don't know if he's paralyzed, but he has trouble walking. Like he can barely walk, but then he
Mhm.
turns into the monster and he gets his strength back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a cool a cool story.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I agree with you. Billy Batson is really interesting.
And especially he transforms. So when he's Billy Batson, he's like totally weak. But then he transforms into Captain Marvel. And
Right.
I love. And then it's an extra like setup because the way the current Captain Marvel was written, he didn't used to be this way, but he's controlled by Billy Batson, and
Right.
So he's got this man, super strong body, but he thinks like a kid, and so that's like a built-in like thing he's got to sort out,
Right.
because everybody's fighting are adults, and how is this kid's gonna, so it helps to make like Captain Marvel, who's this like really strong dude, like more human.
Right. Right.
Which I like that too. So he's not like Superman, where he's always thinking like an adult. He has to.
Right.
Billy Batson has to overcome his age to be a hero.
Yeah, and he's still got that kid brain, so
Yeah.
it
So
comes out.
and then I just love I love his design. I just think it's awesome. His Captain Marvel's costume, and I was just a big fan of not the whole Marvel family, but I loved Captain Marvel Jr. Like because his costume, it was like a blue costume and
Yeah.
a red cape with yellow. So that was pretty cool. I wasn't a big fan of the rest of the Marvel family, like having like Mary Marvel and all that stuff. But
how did you get into that? Was it from that show? Because he used to have a show, right, with Captain Marvel in it, like a live action show, right?
No, I just
80s?
like back in the 70s.
Oh, okay, the 70s.
They had Captain Marvel show, which I liked, but I was already a fan of Captain Marvel because of the comic books. So, and that was just icing on the cake. I'm like, whoa, Captain Marvel's on Saturday morning. He's awesome. And I just always liked him more than Superman. I mean, but don't get me wrong, I was still like, watch Superman shows and movies and stuff because,
I really love John Byrne's take on Superman.
Oh, me too. John Byrne was awesome.
Yeah. And Dan Jurgens too, I liked, or Jurgens, I don't know how you're supposed to say his name, but his like the whole Death of Superman stuff I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a nice way they did that.
But I could see why some people might hate it though too. some hardcore fans. I don't know if that's a thing. I've never really met someone who said they hated it, but
I thought it worked because Superman is just so powerful, and it was nice that they did stuff like that with him.
yeah,
And like really like okay, he is Superman, but he has these still difficulties. He's just not going to like beat up everybody
right.
because when somebody's so powerful, then the story gets boring.
Yeah, you have to have in the one of the best ways to kind of play with Superman's power, right, is threatening the people he cares about or threatening innocent people. That's kind of
Yeah,
the unspoken kryptonite. Um, but yeah, you're right. It is something kind of hard to deal with.
and so it's nice when he's battling people that are more powerful than he is.
Right.
And he needs help, and that's really great because then you really get a chance to write his his personality, how his character. You get to write his character. He still
Doomsday was
fights.
just yeah, Doomsday was just a total shock. I could hardly imagine, the feeling of, back in that like back when it was a new issue, and you didn't know that that was going to happen, and you just see like his suit hanging on the flag, like as a flag. You're like, whoa, what happened?
Yeah, that was and I think that was a time too where they gave him like a mullet, which wasn't so good.
Mhm. Yeah,
So I'm like, what? They gave Superman a mullet? That was weird. But
they were
I
doing a
remember,
lot of different, yeah, just trying to figure out how to change things. I think
yeah,
it was largely because, I mean, when you look at how Marvel was doing back then comparatively, Marvel did really good with, X-Men 1 and all that stuff, so they were probably just trying to think, how do we catch up?
yeah. Well, and I think they did a good job.
Yeah,
And again, it's difficult. How do you make new stories with these characters? Sort of, but
right,
after a while, you people forget, what the characters went through because your audience grows up, and so you
yeah,
can like write similar stories.
right.
Unless you have a movie, situation like complaining that, come on, you wrote the story again. We don't. What are we going to use for the movie?
Yeah.
But, but
What
yeah, man, you should. Your book sounds really really cool. I mean,
oh,
it's,
thanks,
it's
dude.
a shame you had problems with the artist. If you,
Yeah, and it was like not the artist just had a lot going on, and then they just realized it wasn't quite a good fit for them, this type of book, which is totally understandable. So it wasn't like, a negative fallout, I'm still on good terms with the person. It was just we realized it wasn't a good fit, and then we both kind of went our separate ways on creative things, but sometimes these fights can turn really nasty, unfortunately. I've
yeah,
seen that
yeah, they can.
in the indie
And
sphere,
yes,
and or not just in the indie sphere. I mean, it happens in the mainstream too. So
yeah. Thankfully most of the stuff I've been around, everybody's been really cool.
yeah, yeah,
So it's nice when it happens that way. But yeah, there's
right.
difficulties in any kind of situation.
Yeah, I just don't really know, the next step, because like I was saying, it's kind of like you have a kid, and then you're saying, who's going to raise my kid? The next few years. That's kind of what it's sort of like. So that's the hard part. We're trying to
Yeah,
figure out, who to kind of like pass the torch on to. But yeah,
and then that's why when you get somebody, you want to like hold on to them and stuff like that because again, it is
right,
um, because of that fit. Wanting to make
right,
sure
right.
it's the right um,
Yeah,
person.
exactly.
And I got to see on the other side because even though I want to write this book, I would love to still work with writers later on because I
Oh,
love the whole. I don't want to like always write my stuff because I love the whole collaborative process. And I'm doing like
yeah,
all of the art and writing and lettering for this book, but like I would love to bring on another writer later, or
right,
even
right.
another writer to do another project, and then I
Yeah,
want to work with like another colorist and another a letterer and that kind of thing
right,
because
right.
I love um, checking out what their contribution is and how they would handle something a little bit differently or color a little bit differently or write differently with different ideas.
Right.
um, I still love getting a script to this day, and then like going, wow, that was really great, he handled this really well.
Yeah. I yeah, that is true. There is something nice about the creative process. I think it's mostly just because I've never really gotten to that point. Because it's one thing if I have someone draw a cover for a novel, versus or and then they'll do like maybe some, like some drawings, some illustrations I'll put inside it. But it's kind of another like when you're it's a lot harder actually to make a comic, I think, in terms of um, getting the project finished correctly than just writing a normal novel. Because with a novel, it's mostly just kind of like one person mostly working on it, and then once it's
Yeah,
done, it's done. But then with a comic, there's really oftentimes four different people working on it, right? You might have someone penciling it, someone inking it, someone coloring it, someone lettering it. I mean, in the indie space, I guess you oftentimes can. It's oftentimes just three people, right? You might have one person lettering, and then the colorist might happen to also be the guy who's penciling and inking. But yeah, I don't know. It seems kind of hard to sort of move the project along on those ways. Like,
well, actually, it's not. Like, it's really not. You
all
just
right,
have to like, yeah,
you just have to find the right person.
you just get your team, and as long as they're the right person, as long as they're responsible, and you like their stuff, then you just give them the work. They finish it. The pencil, he draws it, and then you get the pages off to the while he's penciling. You get the pages off to a colorist. You just have to get your team in place, and then after that, it's just like just smooth sailing. The difficulty is, like I said, if they're not responsible. If you like their work, they're not responsible. But if as long as you have like a responsible, creative team, that's all it is, man. You just get the pages in, send it off to the colorist. They're done. Get it off to the letterer. Boom, it's done.
Gotcha.
You're not waiting on anybody. So it's actually like a pretty quick, easy. Well, not easy, but it flows. And
That's fair,
really well. I guess because that's how I did with Marvel and stuff. DC, like you just got on the job and did your page, got the script, did your pages, turned the pages in, then they would get inked and then lettered and boom, just like an assembly line.
Yeah. No, I honestly, dude, like I had this idea come to me when I was like probably in 2018. And I've had this script. I've been sitting on this since probably 2023. I just, I've kind of had trouble finding someone new now, and so I don't know. Hopefully this year I'll be able to find someone.
Yeah, well, it sounds cool, man. I mean, if you want to talk about it with me sometime, whatever, I'd be totally open to.
Oh yeah, actually, no, that would be cool. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, off air, that would be. So you're actually one of the people. I had like kind of a short list of people I wanted to talk to, and yeah, that you're one of the people on there.
Because it sounds cool. I mean, from you kind of hooked me with the story. The very first thing you read to me.
Oh, thanks.
And I'm like, whoa, that is a great way to start a story. And so yeah, again, like I said, I'm a fan of whatever catches you, and either the action will catch you right away in the beginning, or the words.
Right.
I don't like I don't like really slow beginnings. Like
the
story. I don't like those at all. I know there are good movies like that sometimes, but I don't like them.
And that was I kind of started out like that. I'm not gonna lie. It was kind of like me explaining a lot of stuff, and it was kind of interesting because I was showing, the dynamic of like the pantheon of gods in my story. But it just wasn't enough to get someone to bite, and that's what you have to think about ultimately. How do I keep people flipping the pages?
Exactly. So even like when you're writing the pages, like where you want the cliffhangers, having splash pages, double page spreads, like even like with my story, I did the first 5 pages, then I realized, I want it all opens up with a lot of action. The first 5 pages, like a ton of action because of the way the story goes, and I was always a fan of that because I was always, of course, a big diehard fan. And you're jumped right into the story, right into the action, and you're like you're like shocked, and you want to so much action, you have to catch up and find out what's going on, and so that's how my story starts. But then I realized, like, man, what about a splash page? What about a double page spread? And so I redid and added a double page spread because for that impact, that you want even more so. So people, when they jump right in, they're hooked. So I hope that people are hooked. There's a reason why it starts that way in my story also, but it's always been a fan like that. Like I love the idea of like writing a story where you're just kind of like driving down the road, and then all of a sudden like the sky opens up and all these like aliens come out of this sky and start attacking people, and you're like, what the heck? And I just love those kinds of because you all this stuff is happening that's really awesome, and you're like, how is this happening? Why? And anything in the story that makes the person ask why, I love.
Yeah.
What is going on? Because then after that, you're like, really can't wait to find out. You know,
Right.
what's up? And then of course it makes sense. Your story has that to me, at
Well,
least what
thank
you
you.
read, but with words.
Thank you. Yeah. If I was to show you the thumbnails, it is kind of silly because these are like middle. These are not even middle school. These are like fifth grade level drawings. But it is what it
Hey, you
is.
got to start
You
somewhere.
got
But like I
yeah.
said in the beginning too, like if if like I work with a story or whatever, and then it needs the concept designs, all that gets done. And
Right. Right.
anything to get that done is helpful. Like whatever, like little sketches. Like even Rosario, like he sketched himself some things, and then it helped
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
to do the final design.
Right. Yeah. No. That is something that you need something to kind of work with, and it is nice to have that.
Anything
Yeah.
helps. Like I tell somebody when they want concept designs, I'm like, give me anything that you have that you think
Right.
will help me design the character for you. Pictures, photographs that you find on the web, sketches that you've done, written descriptions, anything, because it's all helpful when you want to design another person's character, especially if it comes from them. Because your goal as a concept artist is to give them their design, not my design.
Right. That makes sense. Do you what's like your favorite part of the creative process? Do you kind of enjoy doing the concept side more, or are you more interested in um like drawing the sequentials?
I like the sequentials more,
Hmm.
but I love doing concept design.
Right.
So it's awesome coming up with characters and the way they look and finding out their backstory and going through the iterations and searching for reference and
Yeah.
I love the interior pages and the covers more.
Do you know what my least favorite part is? Is basically everything from like when you finish the initial rough draft, like the whole editing process, down to like when it's actually released. That part for me is my least favorite part because you read through it, so many times by that point. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
and it gets kind of like, I guess like when you have the concept in your mind, it's almost like this is kind of a crude way to word it, but it's like a one night stand where you're like, okay, when the concept pops in your head, but then by the time that you've finished the project, it's like you've been married to it for 20 years, and it's rewarding. It's more rewarding to finish, right? But what my point is that sometimes it can get hard. Like sometimes there's like days where you're like, oh no, this is taking so long, or um, it can just be tedious editing things, like little things,
oh
you
no,
know.
I understand. That's why I need to do that, and I think I will end up liking it, but I've been avoiding it on my script because I wrote the script already, and I already went over it twice, and I know I need to go over it more because
Yeah,
I think I want to change some things, and I've been avoiding it because for that reason. It's like, man, I just want to get it done and start on the pages, but I also think that okay, maybe if I just do it, I can maybe like it because my end desire is to just have it be a good story. And
right,
I don't want to noodle it too much because sometimes you have to work with your you just do your best in the time that you have, or else you'll just take
right.
forever on a story. And I don't want to do that either. But I have been avoiding, uh, doing the editing again when I know I need to right now for the very reason
Yes,
you said. Like I just want to like have it done. And
yeah, but you got to do it, And
yeah,
so by the time you finish the first rough draft to the final, version, it's actually probably not going to be too different. Maybe 10% different, but that 10% difference is really important. Like it
yeah,
could actually make or break the story.
and that's what keeps me like okay like to do it because I do want that. I want it to be a good story. I just don't want it to feel like it's thrown together, especially because now I don't want perfection because there's no such thing.
Right,
But
but this is your first book. You want it to come out well.
yeah, and I want to know that I did my best on the time I have, and not just like rushed it out.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest with you. It takes. I could give you like a really horrible script, right? And I could give you an excellent script. Like I could give you something that's written, like imagine it's Frank Miller, right? You have a Frank Miller script, and then you just have some script written by a fifth grader at the elementary school. The thing is it'll take you the same amount of time to illustrate either one. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like it takes just as long to make a bad script as a excellent script. And that's, I think, one of the key reasons why you have to make sure from the beginning you're building off of the right foundation. Because if you don't want your story to collapse, you have to make sure it's like an interesting story. It's something where you're going to want to read it. Like, are these kind of like what Subjugate Comics was saying? Do these characters feel like real people? Do they have backstories? Do they have wants and interests? So
Yeah, and but I also want to get to the point where I can just knock stories out, because I really admire like writers, like Mike Barron. I mean, he can like write with his, both hands tied behind his back and with his, one foot, because he's just done it so much. He knows story, he knows all this stuff.
He knows the structures,
and so he can knock out like a really quick script and stuff.
But Mike wasn't always that way.
Oh no, he wasn't. He used to actually even like do his own thumbnails for the stories and
stuff. That's what I love about, like, if you look at his stuff on the Badger or Nexus, or even when he was doing the Star Wars stuff, he has like the whole thing. He would thumbnail it out.
Mm-hmm. And that's great. So, but I want to get to that point. I just need to know I need to get across all those learning barriers first, and which is fine. But also too, because I also think of comic books as I don't think of it like it really is an art form. I think of it as storytelling and storytelling on a deadline, or else you won't ever get stuff done. It's like, it's not precious fine art. If you want to do that, go to a gallery, because in this, and you're trying to tell a story in a reasonable amount of time to get it out there. And then you improve as you go. And that doesn't mean you slough off and you just throw out crap, but you just do your best in the time you have. And then you do better next time. You just get better in the same time constraints that you've been working with.
Yeah.
Or else, people will take like 5 days drawing a page and like, a whole month to write one issue or 2 months or something like that. Right. And I want to put out content.
That's one hard thing though, is when you're the person who's doing everything. Especially like, I'm really glad that we have people like Shane or Ethan or John where they do a lot of promoting and stuff, because that takes a lot of time, actually. You know what I mean? Like, it might not seem like it's that hard to like cultivate an audience or keep people interested.
Oh no, it seems like it's hard.
It is really hard.
Yeah,
and so like when you have when you're publishing everything yourself, right? You wrote it, you illustrated it. All of these things will end up taking up a lot more time. Versus like, if you're just getting a script and drawing it, it is a lot faster, So and then the crazy thing is, if you're managing the whole thing, you have to be the publicist, right? Who's getting people interested and getting eyes on the project. You have to be the person who's publishing it, right? You have to figure out if it prints right, if what the fonts are and all that stuff. It's crazy stuff. So
totally, man. That's why, like, if I ever make enough money, like, I want to hire some of the things out. Like, that's like, I want to hire somebody to do some of those things, like the copy, to set up the crowdfunding page, to write the copy on it, to handle like a little bit of the marketing, or basically stuff that I don't want to do. And also, even though stuff I want to do, like writing and art, I would love to. I don't want to be the writer for all my projects. I would love to like plot all of them out, but I would love to bring in another writer. To kind of write them all for me. And I would love, if I was like, I have like 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, maybe 9, whatever, different stories. If I was putting them all out, I would love to hire like 1 or 2 writers. I would love to write one of them and like plot the rest of them, but have the writer write it. And then have another artist, come in, get another team for do all the books. I wouldn't want to do all of them myself. So I would love that, but I would like to be involved.
Right.
You only have so much time.
Yeah, exactly. Which is crazy how now you're doing all of this stuff, right? Because you've got Heavy Atomo, you have Triple Threat, and and you're also trying to get the word out there. Did you finish the cyber? You said you finished the Cyberfrog stuff, right? That you were working on.
No. Okay. I haven't finished it all. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, still working on that.
Yeah, so you got that too. That's crazy.
Yeah, but that doesn't take up too much of my time. I'm like, I get the scripts in bits and pieces.
Oh,
And
gotcha,
so,
gotcha.
yeah, so I don't so it yeah, it doesn't take up much time at all.
Well, just so you know, that's actually one of the books that I'm most excited for to see in the indie space. I really love, yeah, I really like the Cyberfrog stories because it's kind of, how would I explain it? But I'm excited to see your take on it. But it's kind of like, in a sense, sort of like, did you ever watch The Iron Giant?
No, no, I've heard
Okay,
about it, but I haven't watched it.
okay. But it's really interesting, you know, because like there's this hero who comes, but he's kind of rejected and hated by everybody. You know, kind of like Spider-Man a little bit, but he's also just kind of like grappling with his humanity. And then there's like this whole global threat, right? Because Earth is being invaded by aliens, and they're pretty gnarly aliens too. So I don't know, but I'm curious to see like how your take will be. It looks fun.
Yeah,
So
me too. I love, like, a long time ago, like when I first saw Cyberpunk, I wasn't a fan of the character, but then the more I started getting into him, the more I started checking out, and then studying him and drawing him, like the more I just started loving the concept and of the character, and
right,
then the story, and then also the concept design of the character. Like it was
yeah,
all stuff I love drawing, like a creature. It's cyber, a cyborg, and action adventure, and how his body's shape, and how he's elongated like a frog, and
right,
so the more and more I get into it, the more and more fun I was having. And then same thing with Salamandroid.
right,
They're
right,
so, like, take a long time to draw because detail, but they're so fun to draw. And because there's these like cybernetic creatures. I mean, how cool is all that stuff?
right,
And then the villains. So and then on top of that, I love Ethan's writing. Like the
yeah,
whole story starts off like at a really great pace. Like right off the bat, it's action, and
right.
but also he starts instilling a little bit of the backstory right away. But he doesn't do it too much, like just enough. But because it's a superhero book, it's like focused on the action. So I'm really enjoying the story, and that's why I can't wait to get the rest of the script to find out what happens in the rest of the issue, because the story in the first 10 pages was so fun.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I thought like too when I first heard about Cyberfrog, I thought it was kind of a tacky idea, and I remember like thinking, well, why don't you just create a new IP? But after reading it, it was kind of the same thing. I was like, whoa, I kind of fell in love with the characters and the interactions between Salamandroid and Cyberfrog and Heather. It's just really interesting, and that's what's cool about what you'll do is you'll kind of be able to expand on that because we didn't
Yeah,
see much of that in this continuity. So
and the more I started, like, started, because when I first when Ethan first brought me on, he had me do um, a pinup, which he eventually used for like a trading card,
mhm.
and then a character sheet, which was awesome to do. So like a character sheet
Yeah, like a
of
guide sheet kind of thing.
yeah, and
Uh-huh.
then to prepare for that, I did a whole bunch of Cyberfrog studies, and then the more. And so I think that was really smart of Ethan, to have the artist do that, because it made you
Then he
like
could
really,
kind of see how you guys work together and what your
yeah,
creative process is and how you mesh with the character.
and also it helped me learn the character, because I
Mm.
did a version that was more like a real frog kind of thing, like his
Right,
head.
right,
And so he really said, no, stick to the guide. So it
right.
really like helped me to get to know the character, like visually.
Yeah.
And
The way that the flesh kind of like on the neck is, it's different, but it's really cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then and then I wanted to stick to the pattern, but then I was still able to instill my own,
Yeah.
thing, especially with. I mean, I love the way also Ethan draws them and how he's elongated and stuff. So I was able to instill some of that and my own stuff in it.
Right.
So yeah, so I was able to look through that process. I was able to really appreciate the design of the characters, and so I get to, and the same thing, I did like a bunch of character studies when I was doing the book, because Salamandroids in the book a lot. So that was so I got to learn that character too, and it was
Yeah.
just really yeah, really really fun. So yeah, I can't wait till I get the rest of the script and I could complete that book, because I'm like you, I really can't wait for it to come out.
Yeah. No, that's one of the top books I'm waiting for on the indie space. I'm also yeah. I'm also pretty excited for Graham Nolan's Chino. I think Chino 77, like just kind of the premise of the story he described.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's
I
actually going to be like his best book yet out of all the ones he's done. I think from the way
yeah,
he's
I don't.
described.
That one I need to know more about. I know it's like a snowman monster kind of thing, but I didn't read too much about the description of it.
Yeah, basically what happens is there's like a Chino killed the two parents of a baby who's stuck in this car, and there's like a snowstorm happening, and Chino's trying to get the baby, and so there's this guy where his arm gets broken fighting Chino, and so he's trying to basically like protect the baby, and he's also figuring out what's going on. Why was the monster going for the baby? So
Oh, okay.
it's kind of like a bit of a survivalist story, but then also like um, I don't know, like a father figure where he's kind of thrust into this place where he's sort of forced to protect this child that he doesn't
Well, that's
know.
kind of a neat concept. I like that.
Yeah,
It's difficult. It was difficult for me. I didn't know much about it because I'm such a superhero action adventure fan. Like if it's not that,
yeah,
I won't even pay attention. And
right. And
you know,
sadly, in this space, we don't have a lot of that. It's mostly other things.
yeah,
There are a
yeah,
lot of monster books, but not quite superhero ones. And that's one
yeah,
reason why I'm excited for the book that you have. Also, Rosario's book was cool too. So
yeah. Because I just love that. Man. All my stories are all superhero stories or they're action adventure. Like I have like two science fiction kind of stories, but they're still action adventure. Like they're all
right,
action adventure. And then I have like a secret agent one that has like powers. That's action adventure, of course.
yeah,
And then I have a few more um, um, stories that are in the same universe as Triple Threat. And so, because I
right.
want to expand that, and but yeah, they're all just like superhero or some kind of hero action adventure kind of thing. I just love those stories a lot. And it's yeah, again, it's just difficult for me to to
You
read
need to
anything
watch. Oh,
that
sorry, what were
isn't.
you gonna say?
Oh yeah,
You
it's
need to
just really
watch the
difficult for me
Iron
to do
Giant
it.
though sometime. I think you would like the Iron Giant.
Yeah, I heard about that. I just and a lot of comic book fans have seen that, but I just didn't ever do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd like to check it out then. If you
Do
suggest.
you like Alex Toth a little bit?
Oh, I love Alex too. Yeah.
Yeah, he actually praised that. He was saying it was actually the greatest animated film he'd ever seen.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I
That's
think I
really
agree with
impressive.
him. I think I agree.
I would. Yeah, I love Alex Toth, man. It's funny, man. I like Kirby and I like Alex Toth, but man, they did not get each other at all. You heard about that story?
Well, Alex Toth didn't really get along with a lot of people. I
Well,
like
no,
there's
like they didn't get along like artists like they both had two totally different philosophies about comic book art.
right. Yeah,
And
I have heard
like
a little bit about that.
there was like a story where Jack Kirby invited Alex Toth to come over so they could hang out because I think he really respected him and stuff.
Hmm.
And so he did, and so it was nice. His wife Russ made him lunch, and they hung out for the whole day, and then talked and learned their processes and all that kind of stuff. And then after that, like Alex Toth left, and he's like, I do not get that man, right, at all. Like, and then Kirby was the same way with Alex Toth. Like, they had two totally different philosophies of
That's
how they
funny.
approach comic book artwork.
Did you like? There was rumors, Alex Toth like grabbed Julius Schwartz and like hung him out the window. I don't believe that, but there are a lot of stories of that, like him being a bit of a curmudgeon. And I
Yeah, he
imagine
was
that,
like there was this other artist, I forget the guy's name, but um it was the same way. Like Alex Toth treated him like horribly, because and he had to come back a few times to beg him like to teach him. And then when he did finally say, okay, agree to teach him, he was like really mean, like
yeah.
to the artist.
Frank Miller was trying to work with for, a lot of people were laughing at Frank Miller. And to be fair, like I'm glad that he does do art, but I think he is more of a writer than an artist. But I think that like the drawing kind of helps him, you know what I mean, know how to visually write it. But basically, when he got big, it was largely because uh, it was help from oh shoot, why am I forgetting his name? How did that happen? I don't know how my mind went blank. He was kind of like the equivalent of like the way that John Romita Jr. changed. I mean, the way that John Romita Sr. changed like Spider-Man, he changed like the Green Lantern and also Batman too. Why am I forgetting his name? He's a shoot. He died in like 2022. What was his name? But anyway, he got rejected like 5 times.
Oh yeah. Frank Miller got lectured a lot, but he kept on like pushing him and stuff like that, and then he finally was who he became like today. But I know what you're talking about. I listened to the interview with Frank Miller about
Yeah.
it. I just forget the artist name. I'm different though, man. I loved
Neil Adams.
Neil Adams. Neil Adams. Yeah, he kept like putting him down and stuff like that. But Frank Miller kept returning, coming back, and he kept working hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, Neil was not nice to him.
Yeah.
And especially the way like Frank Miller lied to get in to see Neil Adams.
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
but Neil let him come in because he was like so.
He's like, wow, I see something here. Yeah.
Yeah, but also he respected the fact that he did lie to come back and see him.
Right.
Because he was doing whatever he could to get to talk to Neil. But I'm like, I don't know what other people like his stuff, but I was a huge fan of Frank Miller's artwork.
Yeah, I like it too. Because he captures like raw emotion in just like a really interesting way.
And also, like was super good storyteller. Like when you read the Wolverine miniseries, watch his pages, panels, he's like a master, man. The way he tells stories and the way he was like put backgrounds in, like he would just hint at things, but it was enough to tell that story.
Yeah, it was enough. Or the way he would like have a silhouette, and you're just like, it looks really cool.
Yeah,
the way he would do it.
He like to me invented like having people fight, like keeping the same camera angle, in the same position, but he made that still dynamic
in his own way. Yeah. I feel kind of bad now that you bring that up, because a few months ago, Ben, I was at a garage sale, and this guy, he had like a bin of he had like some action figures out, and I was looking at him, and he said, well, what other stuff do you like? So I told him I like comic books, and he pulled out like this long box, and I was asking him how much everything cost in it, and he was like, I don't know, I just got this from a friend who owed me money. So I saw like he had actually like the first printing of the Wolverine mini series, the one where he's like with his finger, where he's like telling you to come here. And I was like, how much are you selling this for? And he said, well, I don't know, like how much is it worth? And I mean, I didn't know the number of what it was worth, but I was like, what will you sell it for me for? She's like, I don't know, $2.
Well, yeah, that's good. Like you're trying to get a deal, and he's trying to get a sale. So.
So
like, I don't even know how much. I don't even know how much they're worth.
I looked it up later. Because I was curious. I knew it was worth a lot, and I wasn't lying. I didn't know. I knew it was worth a lot though, and I looked it up, and it was worth like $90. So I was like, oh, that was a good deal.
Yeah, crazy good deal, man. It's like, and it's funny because most of the people, no one knows what comic book. I don't even know what comic books are worth. I have to like look them up. I was never really much into like selling the books that I had anyway.
Right.
Like I would just keep them, and I wouldn't even take care of them that well.
Yeah, and then
as long as I could read them.
He had another one. I think it was the Spider-Man 20th or 30th anniversary book, and it was signed by Sal Buscema. And he's like, "Yeah, this is signed by someone." He's like, "How much will you?" And I was like, "How much would you sell that to me for?" And he's like, "I don't know, $2." But honestly, I didn't know how much that was worth either, because Sal signed a lot of stuff. Same with like pretty much all those old Marvel guys. They just really convention.
That salesman dude should have at least, he had Google. All he had to do was Google the price and the issue number. Right. He could have found out like how much to sell it for.
So I felt kind of bad, but I was like, do I have to bring this up next time I go to confessions? But no. Then at the end, you're like, well, he could have looked it up.
Yeah, he was like too lazy to look it up.
He literally told me to look it up on Google, and I'm like, I don't know. And so he's just all right, $2. So.
So yeah, he should have. Yeah, but still he should have looked it up. He just should have looked it up. I mean, he's trying to sell it, trying to make money. It didn't seem like it just seemed like he wanted to get rid of it.
That is what happened. Yeah, he just didn't know it. He just wanted it gone, and I was like, I'll take it.
Yeah, you should.
I got a lot of key issues out of that dude. and $2 for each one. And some of them, they were printed a lot, so they weren't too much more valuable. But he
Yeah,
had this.
that was a great deal, man.
No,
I
yeah, I got the Spawn and Batman crossover too, which was really cool.
wow.
Yeah,
I can't even like really collect books anymore because I don't have like it's too
access to
difficult
it.
to
Yeah,
like to keep. I don't have any place to store them because I keep
yeah,
moving. So
that's fair.
like my
What?
all the books that I do have are back in the United States at my mom's house.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, do you have like a home base in the States where you kind of store stuff, or?
Well, not really. It's not really my place, but I mean, it's I kept some stuff, and the small things, the amount of things I did keep, my mom said I could keep in her garage.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
yeah, so I have that. Um, it's I only have like 3 boxes, 3 or 4 boxes of long boxes of comic books,
Yeah, yeah,
a magazine size box because, and then I have maybe like a small suitcase full of other things that are mine, and
right.
that's it's pretty much all I own in the almost all I own in the world. The rest of
Dang.
it's with me.
Do you think you might ever go back, or are you staying for good in Europe?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I would love to stay in Europe, but I don't know. Uh, I'm just kind of taking it like a day at a time.
Gotcha.
But I love it here. I would love to be able to stay here, and then like yeah, and then just like visit the United States every year.
Yeah, to see catch up with family and whatnot too.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
yeah,
Or like having the money to like fly them out here, and like
yeah,
having
yeah.
it to me. So one of the two. But yeah, I love Europe. Man. It's awesome.
That's
I
cool.
still want to get to like Morocco. I haven't been there yet, so I'd love to
Yeah,
visit Morocco um, but and
I
some of
haven't
the
been to
places,
Morocco either. I've heard good things about it.
yeah, and it's so awesome with the history and stuff like that, and it's so affordable, for tourists and stuff, and it's just right across the channel, right across the way, so it's like really easy to get to. Um, you could even take ferries over there. What I'd love to do is like take my car on a ferry and then use that to drive over there and
Yeah,
drive a little bit in the desert. Um, but yeah, so I'd love to go there. But there's still so many other places in Europe I want to visit.
yeah.
Because I've been to a lot of the countries, but I still haven't been to Poland yet. I haven't been to
Gotcha.
Austria or any of the Baltic states, um, Romania, Turkey, Albania. So there's some places still left to, as well as visiting places that I've been to, but I haven't been to certain regions. Like I'd love to go visit like west, northwest and northern France, more of the central
Gotcha.
France, northern Spain, central Spain,
Right.
the inland part of Portugal. So there's like so much just here, left to visit.
Yeah.
So there's just so
Portugal's.
much history here, and the United States
Right.
doesn't have that. I just like the culture. I love my country, but
Yeah,
yeah, I just love Europe.
that's cool. Well, I actually probably should be heading out in a little bit, but
Yeah, I should probably
I
go
just
too.
got.
Like I'm enjoying myself.
Oh,
I think
really?
yeah, it's like 2.5 hours we've been on.
Oh, shoot. I felt like I was just here for 20 minutes.
No, like I think I was on only for like 30 minutes or something before you messaged me. So I think you and I have been on for 2 hours.
Oh, shoot. Hey, well, thanks
Oh,
for having me on. It was a lot of fun talking to you. I actually
thanks for
haven't
coming, man.
told much people about my book, but
Well, glad you came on and shared it, man. Because yeah, it sounds really cool. We got to talk. Message me later on, and love to talk more about it.
yeah, dude. Yeah, it'd be cool to do like a off-air thing sometime. Yeah.
And also come on my show anytime, man. I love having you on. You're great to talk to.
Oh, thanks.
And
Yeah, and I want to have you and Rosario come on mine too. I don't
yeah,
know, like
that'd be great.
I'll DM you guys, but yeah, I mean, I'm pretty flexible right now. I mean, so maybe we might be able to find something next week, which would be cool.
I would
But
love that. So would Rosario, and
yeah,
he's promoting the book right now. And also, like this time is great for me too, because I'm like, you're where again? You're like in the Midwest or something, or
yeah, hmm
so I think I'm like 7 hours ahead of you.
right, yeah.
So yeah. So if you come on something like that, it would be um, perfect.
Okay, cool, man.
Um, so yeah, thanks for coming on, dude. And yeah, we'll talk later. And yeah, let me know when you want us to come on.
Okay, awesome. Have a good rest of your day.
All right, man. You too. All right, let's thank JJ for coming on. And now also, I want to get to a few of the other comments. I'm sorry again for like not checking the comments sooner. I'm still getting used to all this live streaming comment stuff, and of course JJ was so cool to talk to that I kind of enjoying the stuff. But anyway, yeah, let me catch up. What is it? Gray. What does gray mean? I don't know what gray means. Subjugate comics. Oh, Dungeoneer. Yeah, I think I did this one. Oh, here we go. It's nice. Sunny days with gray cloud. Let's see, character development. Glad you like it. I love doing character development, and I want to kind of work on my stuff on live stream here. So I'm glad you enjoy it because I love doing it uh, while I'm hanging out with you guys. The whole creative process in general between different is interesting. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I think so too. I love when other creatives, other artists and stuff, writers do that. It's really great for me as well to find out the different ways that people do stuff. Different creators. Okay. I think Fabricio was right. Some people in the indie scene don't spend time with character development. Yeah, that's probably it. And I want to spend more on that because the more you know your character, the better the story will come out, I think. I don't like the nudity in comic books, even if adult story. I don't see need for it. Even in some movies, it's totally pointless. I think so too. That's one of my views. I think there's no reason to have it. It doesn't move the story along to me. Yeah, and there's so many other things in a story that you can write and showcase, and without that, and kind of have that kind of stuff like maybe implied if you have it. So I think the same way. I'm just again a fan of regular superhero action adventure stories, and they usually have that kind of stuff in that. I'm not really a big rated R movie fan um, most of the time. I remember when I found out about publishers outside of Marvel or DC, like Dark Horse or Eclipse, even Marvel's Epic kind of lost interest in the big two. Oh, okay. I kind of did for a little while too. When especially in the '80s, when all the different publishers started coming out, which was great. But unfortunately, a lot of them went into business, so you're kind of left with Marvel and DC. But I'm also still a Marvel DC fan. But I love still, people indie spaces like coming up and doing stuff. It's great because there's more really great options. No, have fun. Anyways, thanks for your patience. If you guys are still there, I'm sorry I didn't read these earlier, and I'm getting to them now. I just appreciate all of you coming on to the live stream. So I work, by myself most of the time. I'm traveling around, so yeah, that kind of gets old. So I like to get away from the desk when I can and take a break, go to a cafe or something. Work in a cafe. But anyways, all you guys coming on here, I really appreciate because I get to hang with you guys, and feel like I'm all by a little lonesome. I am not the kind of guy that could just be by himself all the time and draw. Maybe I know I picked the kind of career for that, but I'm just still trying to figure out other ways I can be around other people when I work. Maybe start working co-working spaces or something like that. But right now, my immediate fix has been to work in cafes. So what I try to do when I come to a new place is search for cafes that have what I need, like a big table, air conditioning. It's close to an electrical outlet, so I can work there. Here, I haven't been able to find one because they have a lot of cafes, but none of them have all the criteria I need. But thankfully, I finally found one, so I think I'm gonna go work there a couple days before I leave. Yeah, that was it. And I think, gosh, am I gonna go? I'm still working on this character. This, by the way, is a character named Violet. Her name used to be Kira, but I changed her name. And I'm doing a character design sheet. It's going to be the same. She's going to look the same. The only thing I'm changing is her hair color to purple, and also to match her name more. She's, like I said, she's kind of like a Black Widow kind of character, and she's like the second in command of the main villain, Kaiser Rex. and they're kind of like a love interest too. And so that's why she looks this way. But because she's European, she's also very stylish. So she has a cool style, hence the like trench coat. So it's a mix between like a fashion and a tactical outfit. And it made her gray instead of black, because I didn't want to copy the Black Widow completely. But so she's violet or purple, gray, and black. But now she has purple hair, and I changed her name from Kira to Violet because it sounds kind of like violent. But also Violet was a little bit. It sounds kind of. It's a girl's name, but it sounds a little bit edgy. But also because she loves purple. So anyways, that's the character that I'm doing, and I decided to draw her in purple for ink it, and up on over here I'll probably put a big head. I usually put like a big their head here, like really big, and then I do like a front shot and a back shot. But this one I'm doing a third one because this front shot you can't really see too much of her top. So I wanted to show part of like her full front so you can see those details. But she's just like a master like martial artist and weapons. She knows weapons. It's not just one kind of thing. She uses blades and guns and explosives and all anything she can do to get the job done. And she she's very stylish. She's French. By the way, my whole story, Triple Threat, is set in Europe. So she's French, and so that's another reason why she's stylish. And so that's a big part of because they're really stylish out here, which I really appreciate. And so she's just a master tactician, a master, fighter, martial artist, weapons, knows weapons really well, explosives, and she's even kind of like a pretty good detective. So she's just like the whole package, and of course beautiful, and speaks French, and probably also speaks German and Italian, and maybe even Slav, Macedonian or something. But anyway, she's another thing I influenced a lot of Europeans over here are bilingual or trilingual. So anyways, that's a Violet, and that's the next thing I want to do is do a lot of the characters that I don't have like full on proper character designs for. So that's one of the next things on the list, and collect them all to do like for one of the tier rewards, a like art of book to do like a concept art book for the project and offer it as one of the rewards reward tiers. So that's what I'd like to do for Triple Threat when that does come out. And I don't know when this is going to be out. Maybe you guys can help me decide. I want it to be in August, but there's no way I want to finish it by then because I would like to finish the whole first issue before I launch the book, the campaign. I could launch now because I have about 7 pages done, but I would like to wait because I would really love to be able to print and fulfill the book once the campaign closes and get all this stuff prepared and like shipped out pretty quickly. Because I would love to be able to like put out a new book every 3 months. That's my goal anyway. I think that's it for now. I think I'm going to close out. It's already been on for almost 3 hours. I really meant to go on for like just 2. An hour. But had a great conversation with JJ. It was awesome. We just got into stuff and I was getting some work done. And so it kind of went over. But anyways, thank you guys for if anyone's still there for showing up and commenting and stuff. And please come on again. I'd like to do these. I'll let you know when I do the next one. And anything else? And again, please check out my my websites, benherrerastudios.com. That's benherrerastudios.com and or bzcomics.com. And please sign up for the newsletters to get some really cool, awesome behind the scenes up to date updates and information and artwork and stuff. And I think I'm gonna like also include like maybe something free, like a free pinup or something like that, like digital PDF to sign up. I just launched the page, the website, so I need to get all that organized. But yeah, so you can keep up to date on all the triple threat stuff and heavy Atomo stuff and other projects that I'm working on. And my commission list is open. So anyway, all of you have a great week, and yeah, and hopefully I'll catch you on the next video. And I'll say something in Serbian. Do viđenja. That's goodbye in Serbian. Do viđenja prijetno. And or I'll just say ciao. Everyone knows that all over Europe. All right, everyone have a great week, and I'll catch you in the next. Hopefully, catch you in the next. What am I trying to say here? I'm tired. Next video, next live stream. All right, ciao.